Good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast. All right, I hear the audio is working, so let me turn off my echo. There we go. And let's pull up the chat and we'll get started. I still have a lot of articles left in the phone from last week and this week, but I got some of them done. In fact, I rearranged where we're starting because I found one that I wanted to discuss. Well, three of them, actually. So make sure the chat is working. Hello, hello. There we go, David. Good to see you. So the chat is working. We are in operation. So let's go ahead and pull up the first article. All right. So we've got Mazda has revealed the Mazda MX-30 e-Sky Active REV with a rotary engine, but only for Europe. I think after the after the way we treated Mazda for their 100-mile 2022 EV in North America, they were feeling a little bit burned and thought, oh, let's go someplace where they don't drive as much. In theory, but for some reason, just like all the Japanese, except for sometimes Nissan, they are clinging to this old ways of going places to fill up and hybriding, and so they're going to put their rotary engine in this thing. And I think I had actually planned to skip it, but I was like, yeah. After what we saw with Toyota, bad mouthing the or Mr. Toyota-san, bad mouthing electric cars after going to Thailand to unveil the Toyota Hilux pickup truck that is made and only sold in Thailand. Uh, what is going on with Japan? I mean, yes, we understand that they managed to trick their government into giving them money for hydrogen, but that's not really going anywhere. And hydrogens are still hybrids because there isn't a fuel cell out there right now at consumer scale. If you go $80,000 at consumer scale, that can actually keep up with the demands of a car. So they actually, what they do is, yes, they can keep up with just steady state highway driving. So what they do is a little bit better than that, and they use it to recharge a battery, and that battery is what actually gets the car accelerating and does most of the work. And with it going just a little bit more than the car can handle at steady state, is able to recharge it. That way, when you get some stop and go, you're not taking 50 seconds to get up to the speed after the blockage is cleared. All right, so let's see. So this one only has a 17.8 kilowatt hour pack, which is an 85-kilometer range. So it's even smaller than they already did, because that one was 35.5. The good thing is, because they've got gas in it, this thing can go 372 miles now instead of just over 100 in real world. And it doesn't look like they changed much on the interior either. And so now we know why you didn't have a frunk on this thing, because they were planning to put stuff in there. David says, crazy that Japan, the land of public transport, can't figure out true renewable EV autos. Not only that, but they're masters of the microchip and microchip, yes, but not just microchip, but oh, drawing a blank right there. The silicon. They they have what it takes. They have the technology. They have the skills, but they've got these old heads. And nothing against old people, but old thought. You need to be flexible, and they are not doing that. So, oh yeah, so Franz did this interview with Ryan. We talked about that a little bit last week, but there were some items that came out of it. I sat down to listen to it after my show. Uh, mm, uh, if I don't have an article on the article, then I'll leave this here and we'll come back to it. But I think we do, and I can expand upon some of the things they pointed out. All right, so let's do. All right, so that one's Porsche. Where is the other article? I had two articles, one from Dan and one from Drive Tesla Canada. So let's open that one to be ready. Because Dan's article is cool, and then the Drive Tesla article is like, what the heck? Or no, I said that backwards. Dan's article is what the heck. All right, so let's go to share this tab instead. And David says, and all electronic computers. Yes, exactly. Like that is what they were known for. Like we were on like tubes and capacitors and stuff, and they were well into there it is, the transistor. I don't know how I was drawing a blank on the word transistor, but I was. Untangling my cords here. I don't know how I did that. I got everything tangled in the headphone cord. Not the safest situation right there. Also not good for interference. Check my sugar while we're here. If the phone will participate. There we go. Yeah, that'll get us through. Um, so Ford may cut their dependence on Volkswagen for their EV platforms. And what was confusing to me when this thing first started hitting is everybody was using a picture of the Ford Lightning body being mated to the skateboard, and I was like, the Lightning doesn't have anything to do with Volkswagen. It's because it doesn't. And this one used a picture of the E-Transit, which also has nothing to do with Volkswagen. Uh, what we have here is I was hoping to have a picture of it, but basically in Europe, Ford was building some cars on the ID platform, basically, and they're not anymore, which is smart. You know, you've got a company that is very much realizing they are in a far distant second place to Tesla and the Chinese, and admitting it and making moves to do the right thing and catch back up and do everything it takes to be a real competitor in this space. It does kind of, it's like, why don't you just roll those out and then come up with your platform? But maybe there's a good thing here. Maybe they already have a world platform that they're getting ready to roll out, and now you don't have to be beholden to Volkswagen and try to figure out how to do over-the-air updates on a Volkswagen platform, which is not yet built for it. And and then your technicians at all the dealerships or at least service centers or however you're gonna call them, they don't have to know two different architectures. They just have to know, hey, this is the big one, this is the small one, and it makes training a lot easier and cheaper. And also it makes your customer experience more consistent. Because if they get in the Volkswagen-based one and don't like it, then they might not try the Ford one. So I thought that was interesting and a smart long-term move for them. Let's see if there are any comments. None. So then let's compare and contrast that with another Michigan-based uh, EV maker. This one's coming from Dan. We've got General Motors. They are investing nearly $1 billion in V8 engines when it's all in on electric vehicles. And Peter brought up a really good point. You're like, why are they doing this? Ford's idea of all in, you can see. GM's idea of all in, yeah, they're going to put 35 billion in it eventually, but rather than kind of balling everything up and getting ready to jettison it into like Ford has with Ford Blue and Ford Model E. The Model E is all the new stuff they plan to keep, and the Ford Blue is all their legacy that they're getting the value and the people they need out of it. And then they haven't said they're going to do this, but it's very obvious that they're just going to kick it to the curb or smush it. Who cares which? Let's see. David says Ford is at least making a concerted effort to move to EV tech. I hope it succeeds as Tesla needs real competition. And I own Tesla stock. Absolutely. Same all around. Same here. And although my Tesla stock is pittance, I had to tap into it. But you've got Ford who's saying, hey, we've got this. And then you've got GM saying, we're number one. We're number one. We're leading from behind somehow. I understand the argument that yeah, the heavy duty, medium duty trucks, blah blah blah, it's hard, etc., etc. But then you've got the Hummer EV, you've got the all the Class 6 non GM vehicles, you've got Lightning Motors, you've got Freightliner, you've got everybody who's got a Class 6 Volvo, who's got a Class 6 truck, and then you look at the Class 8, you've got Tesla, you've got again all these other people who have Class 8 trucks. So if you're saying that electric can't do the heavy duty, you're lying to yourself and to your customers, because if it can do the light duty pickup truck with the Ford Lightning, it can do all the car stuff with everybody else in the market, including the Chinese. And then you've got Model X, which is kind of like in the middle there because it's this large minivan thing, and it's got 10, 20 horsepower now. Let's look it up. Let's see how many miles the Plaid Model X gets today with 20-inch wheels. Oh, you don't know this by heart? No, I don't, because they they keep changing stuff, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Oh, whoop, the extra letter in my URL, so it went to a search. Never recover it. There you go. All right, so let's look at a plaid, just because. All right, so a plaid with 20s can get 333 miles of range. That's incredible. And if we drop it down to a long range, you only get another couple of miles at 348. So 350 miles in this beastly. Mine weighs 58.58. So I don't know if they've made any lightning, uh, not Ford Lightning, but if they've made it lighter um, than mine. So it's still going to be similar, around 5,000 pounds. And then you've got the Rivian at 450 and the Ford Lightning at least 250. 230. Okay. So if you can do all this on the light duty and medium duty side, and then you can just eclipse it on the heavy duty side, it's disingenuous to say that you can't do a HD truck or a work truck, like, with towing and stuff without gas. David says his is small as well. um, so to say that you can't do it without gas is, like I said, you're lying to yourself, you're lying to your customers, and you clearly are not all in, and you're clearly not a leader. Because when you look at the Rivian, you look at the Lightning, you look at uh, the Cybertruck. Yes, Cybertruck's not here yet. Blah blah blah. They're installing the press now. They've already started hiring engineers and people to put the thing together. So if you don't think it's happening this year, and something major doesn't happen, like an earthquake or like financial collapse or something, then you've also been lying to yourself. Um, I get being skeptical of companies that are startups that are often Archimoto, for instance, right now is now in the chute for bankruptcy. They've shut down the factory and they've started their bankruptcy stuff. And then you've got Aptera. I hope they make it, but they announced their final version. They're production ready, but they also in that same presentation they said we need more investors to actually make this thing work. Then you've got all the stuff through history, the Alio Motors, the um, what was the little yellow egg called? Was it Morrison? and I understand, for startups, if you've been burned, like I said, every time I say that, Eddie says, "Hey, if it's coming," he has a reason. Like he's been, not saying he's been burned by these people, but they've captured his attention. He's got excited about them, and then they go out of business. I agree, David. The only thing I didn't like about the Archimoto was the price. If they had been able to do that thing for like $12,000 to $15,000 with no features, that would have been great. But at 40,000, I just didn't understand the use of it. And then, yeah, I know they had 29, but that was still too high for something I couldn't wrap my head around. Uh, Me personally, I'm not saying it wouldn't work. It's just I don't see how it would have worked at 30 and 40,000. Now, so for GM to be saying that they need the V8s, they need to put more money into V8s, not keep using what they have. We need to put more money in V8s to the tune of $1 billion. I don't see how they can consider themselves to be a leader. And I think Dan worded it a way I like. Let me go back here. He said, "I think they want to keep both feet firmly in either camp, which is a hard pass on evolution in the car industry. You can't, these trains are going different directions. You can't you can't have a foot in each train. It's not like they're going the same way and hopefully at different speeds or whatever." Let's see. Elon was so fortunate to get the giant NUMMI factory for a song. Other startups were not so lucky. Exactly. Rivian, they have a chance if they can just pull everything just right, but they've got a long, hard road ahead. Lucid, same deal. Uh, Look at Faraday Future. I don't know how they keep coming back from the dead. They- it's a nice looking. Well, it's a nice featured car. And it's got some good lines on it. It's not the prettiest ar in the world to me, and it's quite large for 4 seats. Super large for 4 seats. That should be a three row car with an option for that executive interior. They might have got more reservations that way too. Who else have we got? We've got Bollinger, we've got Canoe, we've got, there's a lot of really good choices coming up, and I hope that they all make it. But again, for GM to be claiming they're leading, and they delivered what 53 Hummers last year, and they had the Bolt offline for 6 to 9 months, and they never came back. They started selling again, and they came out with the Bolt EV, but they didn't really pick up any momentum for all the boasting they've been doing. And then this. Uh, keep some of that money, and yes, do put something into your V8s as long as you've been making them, but you don't need $1 billion. And then say, oh yeah, well, we're still considering EVs. Let me see, 854 million in V8s. Uh, she explained that we want to provide EVs for everyone. The company's already committed to an all-electric future. It doesn't sound committed to me. Um, they claim the Bolt was the number one mainstream EV in Q3 and Q4, with deliveries climbing 50% year over year. It's very easy to climb your deliveries when you come in from a stop sale. Uh, the sales amount to less than 2%, while other companies are already achieving double-digit or 100% EV sales here, including, not just Tesla, Ford. You got Rivian, you got Lucid. Everybody was climbing, and then you got the Bolt with the 50% year over year. Uh, GM, so much resource being wasted on a doomed path. Exactly. And Eddie says that's why I see things about new startups all the time. Exactly, exactly. I mean, they talk a good game, and they have to, they have to attract the investment to survive. But Eddie's right. I'll believe it when I see it. But my point about getting into all of that was that yes, the Cybertruck is not here yet, but they're not some fly by night company. They surely the single motor will probably not make it. I mean, Tesla does have a really bad habit of just cutting trims before they make it to market, but that's not a whole car. It's just an option on a car. Let's see. So on top of that, they're investing 918 million in 4 of the facilities for V8 engine production. On top of this, they canceled their plant that they were making batteries in, or they were going to make batteries in with LG. So, I mean, what message does that send in the same week that you're canceling a gigafactory for batteries, and then you're investing an additional, well, it appears to be 2 billion because you got 800 up here somewhere and 900 over here. Uh, what does that say? And then another 56 million for battery cooling packs. Okay, but 56 million. I thought you were all in on EVs. That should be the bigger number. I understand you're transitioning, but what you're transitioning to should be getting most of your efforts. 8 million to produce a casting development for future EV development at Defiance. So that's just R&D right there. Is 8 million, and 56 million is production, but 8 million, that's just R&D. All right, so let's look at this electric take. I liked it. GM is sending mixed messages here. Are they all in on EVs, or is it all just talk? Looks like talk, because V8 engines won't help GM sell more electric vehicles, and most certainly will not help them in its goal of eliminating tailpipe emissions from vehicles by 2035. They're not even hybrid V8s, so yeah, there's no reduction in them other than the incremental. Hey, we made it more fuel efficient, but if you wanted it more fuel efficient, you would do what Ford did, and you'd go to EcoBoost. Obviously, don't call it EcoBoost. Smaller engines with turbochargers, superchargers, less displacement, less emissions. You don't just go with the same old thing, big old naturally aspirated V8s. Keep in mind that GM spent years trying to hyping up an electric Corvette. That was the other thing right there. Hyping up an electric Corvette that even President Biden couldn't stop talking about, only to release the hybrid E-Ray Corvette last week. Did I even cover that one? I don't think I did. I think I did the leak of what it would look like. The hybrid E-Ray Corvette last week fitted with a V8, again a V8, and the same amount of energy storage as 2 standard 12-volt lead acid batteries. So they're not even, I mean, they might be lithium, but they're not even good lithium batteries. Worse than that, you can only go into all-electric mode up to 45 miles an hour, and only when the throttle isn't being pushed too hard. You made an expensive 2-seat fast Prius. Toyota can do that by themselves. Yeah, why not coast on ice plants if you still need to sell something? Exactly. I mean, I understand, patching the holes in the roof, replacing machinery that needs replacing. Say you got a cast machine or a block borer or whatever. Okay, do your maintenance. Don't let it fall apart. But you, you don't need new ones if you're all in on electric, because you're not going to expand your fossils, and you're definitely not going to expand your V8s. And then your electric sports car isn't even electric. It's a hybrid. I don't even know if it's a plug-in hybrid. I knew it was a hybrid. And if it is a plug-in with that small of a battery, it probably charges in 1 hour or less from a from a granny lead. Let's go another sidetrack before we finish this guy's conclusion here. Let's go and check out, see if they got an EPA rating on that thing. You know what? I do want to do a compare, because there are other cars that have that same goofy architecture. Chevrolet. Okay, so it's not out yet. Uh, I think one of them has got that stupid mild hybrid thing. Oh, the McLaren does. They don't even have that one I was thinking of. So the Altura, I think, does have it. Um, Premium gasoline. So it gets 39 because it's electric and gas. And I don't believe is a plug-in? It is a plug-in hybrid. Okay. So if they're a plug-in, then there might be. Let's look at the E-Ray. What? Okay, so it's just a regular old Prius style hybrid, but not even a good one. It's got a 2 kilowatt hour battery pack. Seriously, that's not an electric car, and you can't call that an E-Ray. You call it a hybrid ray. Come on, come on. Tell me you're all in on EVs when you're doing crap like that. You got a regular hybrid in 2023 with a tiny battery pack and no plug, not even optional. And then you've got, shoot, the McLaren has a plug. He saw it on the fueleconomy.glove. Uh, so they highlighted this comment by Lisa. Simple, heavy-duty trucks like the Silverado HD and Sierra HD, which I already talked about. The HD trucks is not an excuse, because if you've got it on the small end, you've got it on the medium end, and you've got it on the heavy end, you can't just skip over this and say you can't do it. You can say you don't want to do it at the price it's going to take, but then you can't also say that you're all in. But let's just give them a pass on that for now. Okay, sure, you can't do a big pickup truck with it. Whatever, everybody else can. So just like Ford said, there's no plan to make these EV yet. Yeah, Ford's not trying to do it yet because their Transit goes 150 miles. All they need to do is make more batteries. Batteries are expensive, and their plants aren't online yet, so they're still buying them from people. So if they buy batteries for the commercial vehicles that don't need them, because the vans have a known route, they work in the city. It would be really nice to have an optional big pack. Like, just give me the Lightning pack in the Ford Transit. That's my choice. But that's neither here nor there. If you need to save your packs and your vans go for next to nothing because they are seen as commodities, you can put all your battery packs in your Lightning. You can put them all in your other cars overseas, the smaller cars that you're still making. I get the calculus on that, because if you're going to need a Hummer-sized 3,000-pound pack to make your other medium duty pickup trucks work, I can understand them not working on them yet, but you don't see them investing further to make bigger gas. Let's see. Because the battery requirements and towing demands are simply too high. Sure they are. And yes, I understand that the Tesla Semi has a megawatt hour size pack. I get that, but the Nikola doesn't. The Nikola is actually the next highest. The Volvos and them, they don't, and they're making do. And they still got over 100-mile range. Let's see, and these are exempt from fuel economy rules too. So there you go. That's another black eye right there. Hey, fuel economy standards. Even if you don't need them for the EV, but be going after something that's not regulated, it just doesn't look good. So they aren't affected by any of the 2035 ICE bans. Ford, GM, and Ram will convert their light duty trucks to EV, but so far, no, there are no plans to do so with heavy duty trucks. There are no public plans, just because the others haven't. Like you got the Dodge thing that we looked at briefly last week and the week before. You've got the Lightning. The Lightning, that makes sense. They sell the most F-150s of anything. So start there. As soon as you got your own battery plant, move it up to the 250, then the 350. As the batteries get cheaper, as the motors get stronger and cheaper. And yes, I know they've got the Hummer and they've got the Sierra. The Sierra isn't out yet. We finally saw some pictures of it. And excuse me, the Sierra and the Silverado. I understand they're the same thing, but I think you're giving them too much of a pass here, Alicia. That's why they need to keep on updating their V8s because their competition is doing the same. Yeah, but they're not putting billions of dollars into it. They're just putting in their regular maintenance money into it. All right, so the author continues. To be fair, GM is investing 35 billion over through 2025 in electric vehicles and moving quicker than most. How do you say they're moving quicker than most? Look at Ford. Look at VW. Everybody is beating GM in this thing. Yes, GM and Tesla were the only ones to run out of the tax credit, the previous version. Then GM just stopped and took a nap. And yes, I realized that nap was because the cars were catching on fire. But you come back swinging. David says, I can charge 35 Corvettes for my Model 3. you could if they had plugs. I guess you could drag them. Put your rear or front tow hitch on and just drag them until they fill up. If Mary Bear believes that they can beat Tesla, they'll need to start by acting fast. Investing in almost $1 billion into V8 engines is entirely the wrong direction. GM's already building V8s, and they should not need to make more at this point. And on top of that, again, in the same week as they canceled the battery plant, and they put in $8 million and $55 million into their EVs, while they put $1 billion, maybe $2 billion. I'm not sure how those two different large figures were correlated there based on the middle of this article here. It's not good optically, and you guys still have a PR department. You still talk to people in the news, so you can't say, "Oh, well, Elon's quirky, and we don't have a PR department. We can't spin this." Well, what are you paying those people for? The future is fully electric. GM says they are embracing it, but are they truly? I'm sorry, are they? Question mark. Hopefully, with a few high-profile EV releases this year and momentum built up from last year, the company can start putting some numbers up. What do you guys think? Leave us your thoughts. So, I think that there's a chance that E-Ray could, if they designed it right, could have room for a bigger battery and a plug. And I don't know why they didn't do it out of the gate. I have no idea. And you could turn it into a pure EV, but I don't think once you make a platform that can take a fossil, there's no way to make a good EV out of it. It's the way it is. There's no way unless you made it as an EV and then you carved out a way to make a fossil fit back into it, like the BMW i3 Rex. That's an electric car. It's got a little motorcycle engine in the back quarter. That makes sense. Make it at least as good as a Volt. Yeah, they went backwards. It's not even as good as a Volt. I wonder if it even uses any Volt tech in it. It probably doesn't. Not Volt tech. That's what they call the powertrain on the Volts. For those who don't get my joke, and I had amused myself there. But I don't think they used any of the Volt software or technology in this thing, and which is amazing because the Volt actually evolved. The powertrain we got evolved from the hybrid Suburban. So it's kind of like full circle V8 and a strong electric motor to 4-cylinder strong electric motor back to a V8 again, if there was anything shared with it, but it just doesn't seem that way. They haven't had any comments lately that I could see, unless something's wrong with my connection. All right, so that was Ford and GM contrasted. Now let's go over to Somebody else who also has trouble with the software, but instead of like pretending that they're doing the right thing, they're actually reaching out to people who know what they're doing. So we've got Porsche. They're in talk with Google over their infotainment software. And what I say, I'm not singling out Porsche. This is the whole Volkswagen Auto Group. Um, like I said, the Volkswagens don't have over the air yet that I've been able to find, and the ones on the road today certainly don't. And everybody says that their infotainments are garbage. So talk with Google. Google knows software, and we'll see what becomes of it. So let's see. Porsche have been making rounds in Silicon Valley, and latest reports show that they're talking with Google. They've been on the lookout for new software providers since ending their relationship with Volkswagen's development unit, Cariad. Uh, it's scrolling funny. All right, so Porsche 911 customers have access to Google Maps through Google built in, which is pretty cool. And then we just saw on one of the older Porsches, like a 30 more year old Porsche, they have a new head unit that has CarPlay and Apple and Android Auto built in. So they're not averse to going out and finding the right help. They just haven't done it yet. So that was kind of cool to me. It was just in the same vein as what we were just talking about. All right, so I can close this search, and then we can go back and get some of the articles up. All right, let's go to the top of this list here. All right, we've got a tweet. Let's start with the tweet. I'm in the habit of just copying them, even though I don't have the Twitter app anymore. I could just click them. I say that. I might still have the Twitter app. All right, Volkswagen is no longer building the ID4 with a heat pump due to a semiconductor shortage. Volkswagen customers will not be getting a credit or a refund, as the heat pump is considered an optional feature in the ID4. So the customers who ordered one will not have it included. I would be pissed. When you look at what happened to the Model 3 and the Model Y to make them so fuel efficient and give them their long ranges and their fast heat up and all this jazz, they've got not just a heat pump, they've got a heat pump with a very, very awesome, uh, it's called the octave valve. What would you call that? Distribution system? Yeah, let's call it distribution system. But even just a basic heat pump, but as we saw with the Nissan Leaf, like they had the resistive heater and it did okay. Then they added the heat pump, and that gave them a good percentage boost in range. Let's see what the comments were on this. Why I saved the tweet instead of the article. One of the reasons my sister went for Model Y after the price drop. Not to mention she's been waiting 9 months for the ID4 and no ETA on delivery. She'll get her Model Y by March. Update: she takes delivery this week. Congrats. Oh, Twitter's rolling back my stuff, huh? Nice. So a $1,500 price hike and no heat pump. That's one way to look at it. As if it doesn't suck enough already. Come on now. Translation: heat pumps cost too much, and we're already losing money on every ID car sold. Good luck with winter range. Yep. Why are they rolling back my likes? I thought this was free speech, Elon. Wait, I think they misunderstood the best part is no part. Oh, yes. Oh, actually, no. It's true, though, because having a heat pump is better if you because you just need a reversing valve versus having this whole separate system. Literally, instead of a refrigeration unit for AC and a resistive heater for cabin, the heat pump eliminates the resistive heater and uses the fridge for efficient heating. The best heater is no heater. Yeah. Not so simple. You need more parts, different controls, blah, blah. Yeah, but that's. You barely need any extra parts to add a heat pump to an existing air conditioning system. Just a reversing valve, one extra switched output from the aircon, and blaming it on semiconductor shortage is an excuse. My 2012 Nissan Leaf has a heat pump, and no heat pump in the new VW. Heat pump is more complex. You can recover waste heat. Well, the Tesla heat pump, yeah, Tesla heat pump is a monster. In fact, Tesla did a video on that. I think I've got that here, but we can go search for it. as it can recover waste heat from the motor, battery, etc. It's used for cabin heating. But straight out penny pinching is not to provide at least an air source to heat pump uh, using the existing aircon system. I agree. Having heat in Northern Europe is overrated anyway. Oh, sarcasm. Okay, so let's look at what Drive Tesla had to say about it, and then let's go look at what Tesla has to say about theirs. It's got the link. Paste to go. And uh, last week we reported Audi had stopped including the heat pump in the e-tron. Wow, even if you pay more, you don't get it. Telling customers a new car would instead be coming with just a resistive heater. I'd be extra pissed. In an email to customers, Audi said the semiconductor shortage was to blame. At least they have their family story straight. One of the readers let them know the same thing about ID4. Spokesperson said just like Audi, they don't know when the storage will end, and they'll be able to add it back. Wow. However, unlike Audi, VW customers will not be getting a credit or a refund. Wow. So at least they got something for it on the Audi. Any customer order will simply not have it included, and the final price will be adjusted accordingly. Eh. Mm-mm. The heat pump hasn't always been a standard for efficiency. However, the ID4 and 3 were launched. German automaker included it to compensate more than 56,000 owners because they weren't performing up to their advertised standards. So they're lowering their advertised standards as well? Because taking it out isn't going to make the car perform any better. I wonder if anybody said anything about this one. Nope. All right, so we're going to go to YouTube. Channel. I should have just gone YouTube/Tesla. Greetings, Timothy. And David says semiconductor shortage makes a fluidic system harder to source than electronic heat system. Fishy. I agree. I totally agree. Let's see. Not just fluid, but like we're talking like metal and like makes no sense. All right, so here is Tesla's take on heat pump, and I'm gonna have to mute it real quick. So let's see. MC. There we go. 0. EVs get a bad rep for cold weather. They're known for running out of range super quickly. They charge too slowly. Oh shoot! Did all that, and you guys never saw me move on to the next tab. There we go. So 0. EVs get a bad rep in cold weather. Known for running out of range super quickly. Charge too slowly. Tesla heat pump is about changing all those notions and making an EV for all kinds of weather. Tesla heat pump. Heat pump's like an air conditioner in reverse. Air conditioning system takes the heat out of your house and pumps it through the outside environment. Let's see. So here we see the Tesla heat pump in the Model 3. Was it Model 3? It looked like Model 3. They've got the same one in the Model Y, Model S and X now, and then they've got 2 of them in the Tesla Semi. And this is what's pretty cool about the Tesla one. They're using all the available heat sources they can get a pipe onto and moving the heat back and forth, including like if you leave the car parked and it's still got some heat in it, they'll pump the heat out of the cabin and store it in the battery as a heat sink. And then because they have so many sources, they don't really need the resistive heating at all. They can find other places where they can run the motor out of sync or any number of things to generate that heat and then move it around. Here we see the octavalve and the super manifold. Similar thing with the cooling components. I mean, And look how small that is compared to having a separate air conditioner and then a separate heater. And they're talking about the synergy of it all right there. Oh, you need to cool something down? We need to heat something else up. Here you go. I mean, that's this is just awesome right here. They're talking about how the octovalve works. Monroe goes into more detail on that if you wanted to know about that. But they did a pretty good high level overview. Basically, what it does is it just chains up different sets of cooling systems. So something needs heat, something else is hot, or vice versa. 15 to 20% less energy because of the way they use the heat pump. That's significant, especially when you're working with something that has less than 3 gallons of gas worth of energy to begin with. So you got Audi going one way, Tesla going another, and then Audi or not Audi, but Volkswagen group blaming it on lack of chips. All right then. All right, let's load some more articles here. Uh, let's do another tweet while I'm here, and paste that in here. Right, Sawyer says, breaking! Chinese automaker Xpeng on Tuesday announced price cuts of $5,300 for some models in the country and a notice on its official WeChat account. New starting prices in US dollars are the G3i at 22,000, the P5 at 23,180, and the P7 at 31,000. So everybody is following in these discounts that Tesla made at the beginning of the year. All right, David says, admittedly, there could be issues when cold soaked, but 95% can use preconditioning. Exactly. Also, use the SC battery waste heat and use the octovalve tech and you're showing long trips. Yeah, exactly. Plus, as long as you don't do a Kyle Connor or somebody who lives in the Arctic Circle without a plug for some reason, if you don't pull one of those, like, and Kyle didn't do it on accident. He did it on purpose. You're not literally cold soaking the car, so it has no heat energy anywhere in it beyond what's available in the natural environment. Um, it'll heat up pretty quick, and then if you are on your way to the supercharger and it knows you're going, it will heat up the battery pack and take the charge a little better. Uh, and again, in the middle of winter, especially on these frameless window cars, you probably want to preheat it at least a little bit so that way the windows can drop. Any opinion on Xpeng quality? Um, I will say that their most popular vehicle looks like a Model 3, and they allegedly stole FSD from Tesla. I'll say that. I don't know how good the build is. Um, I think it was FSD 2, because otherwise, if they stole FSD or if they stole Autopilot 1, then we wouldn't say they stole it from Tesla. We'd say they stole AP1 from Mobileye. So I think it was AP 2.0. They've since added lidar to it, and it seems to be doing all right in China, but I don't know enough about them to know if what they're making is quality or not. But I do know it's a lot higher quality than the Hulong Wonggong Mini. uh, Somebody pointed out you can't compare something like that to something like the Model Y and say that it's something so much better than the Model Y in China. They're not comparable, and they're not cross-shopped. Oh, they might be at the very beginning when you like show me an electric car, and then you look at that and you look at, oh, this is more my style, or hey, that's my budget. You don't really. actually cross shop them. They show up in the same search under EVs available for me to buy in China. And then he's got a link to Yahoo doing it. And who else did we say recently dropped prices? I'm drawing a blank, but we've got more, not just them. Everybody's dropping prices now, thanks to what Tesla did there. All right, we'll share this tab instead. Well, I say everybody. Some people are actually raising their prices because their cars qualify for the IRA credit. The Volvo XC40 and C40 Recharge, they go rear-wheel drive and get a range and charging boost. Replacing the previously available front-wheel drive models, they're the first rear-wheel drive Volvos in 25 years. Wow. Remember those Volvo wagons with the shield on the hubcaps? They were rear-wheel drive. Or all-wheel drive, depending on what you get. Let's see here. So they swapped them from front-wheel drive to rear-wheel drive, like almost everybody else's EVs. And let's see. Let's look at these charging times. All right, so the rear-wheel drive replaces the front-wheel drive, and the C40 Recharge single motor standard range now features 175 kilowatt permanent magnet electric motor. That's pretty cool, which provides 3% increase in power output over the 170 kilowatt single motor front wheel drive motor. And the XC40 Recharge single motor, same 69 kilowatt hour battery pack is carried over, but enhancements in cooling and efficiency now increase the range up to 460 kilometers WLTP and 240 miles on the EPA. So, like we were saying, better thermal management can get you pretty far. Sorry to beat on the desk there. I don't need pictures of this car. The C40 Recharge single motor is also improved to 476 kilometers WLTP and 245 miles EPA. I mean, what do we keep saying? 250 is a good sweet spot, right? So they're almost is a good sweet spot. But at the same time, my car, I typically leave out of my driveway with 230 miles of range because I don't charge it to 100%. 100% is now 246. It was 289 on paper and it was 286 when I picked it up. So hopefully these newer batteries degrade less than mine did. Not that mine was terrible, but keep you in that sweet spot even or near that sweet spot even longer. You can get a more powerful 185 kilowatt motor. This new variant only comes with a larger 82 kilowatt hour pack. That's good. Gets you a little bit more range. 520 kilometers WLTP and 270 miles EPA. There you go. Right in that sweet spot. And I don't mind you had to pay for it. As long as they don't charge too much for that extra 20 miles. Well, 40 miles. Let's see. That's good. Good work, Volvo. And you don't see them complaining about chips. We also don't see you complaining about chips. Tesla. All right, let's see. Charging power is improved as well. The larger pack has an updated charge rate of 200 kilowatts DC. You're almost at the 250, up from 150. So that's actually good. That's a nice 50 kilowatt bump. You bumped it up by a whole bolt because the Bolt EV is stuck at 50. And as a result, the charging time from 10 to 80% takes 28 minutes. That's not bad. And who did a review recently? I want to say Aging Wheels did a review and said, why 10%? Because nobody's arriving at next to nothing except weird people like me. And above 80% is ridiculous because then you are wasting time waiting on the charger that could be spent driving to the next charger or driving to your destination. The only time I recommend charging above 80 at a DC charger is if you're at your destination and there's no AC charging near where you're going to be or at your place. And then not every time, just enough to get you for that, that first little bump around. Excuse me. Or if you're going to be driving the whole time you're in that town, like when we went to Disney years ago, we would just still do 80% charges at all the various superchargers available in Orlando. In addition to rear-wheel drive, they got all-wheel drive been adjusted. Get more range and storage times on them as well. Uh, Instead of two 150 kilowatt motors, you get 183 kilowatt E motor on the rear axle and 117 kilowatt asynchronous motor on the front axle. Huh. So it sounds like the Model 3 and Model Y. They have uh, they have the permanent magnet motor in the back and the induction motor on the front. Mine is all induction motor just because they've learned a few things too. Let's see. 82 kilowatt hour pack with the efficiency increases. You got 38-mile gain. That's not bad. Or 62-kilometer gain on that other cycle. And you get the same powertrain, and you get 451 kilometers, or no, you went from 451 kilometers to 507 kilometers. Not bad. Oh, here we go. Nice chart. I mean, they are pedestrian in performance. That would have been supercar years ago, and the 4.9 is good. I bet you pay dearly for that. 7 is good too. I see, because you got extended range battery versus a regular battery. Then you've got your two various all-wheel drives. Okay, well that was fun. Let's move on to the next thing. All right, so let's go back to Ford again, but not in the way you'd expect. Uh, so we've seen a bunch of really ugly, some not so bad, Model 3 and Model S hearses in Europe. Well, now we've got a Ford Mustang Mach-E electric hearse as well. So people are just dying to try out the Mach-E. Yuck, yuck, yuck. I did it. Uh, Electrify all the things. I give you that. They got to work on the styling of these hearses. I like that this wheelbase is like super extended. 'Cause you know what you can do with a super extended wheelbase? You can make a limo. Ah, thinking about stuff now. Hmm. See who did it. David says, "Dang, if I was going the cremation route, that would be my final ride." Yeah, I mean, if given a choice, I would pick. Well, I guess I do have a choice. I can like write a will on it or whatever. But if it was available, I would like to go in an EV rather than a fossil. Let's see. Coleman Milne, funeral specialist, funeral vehicle suppliers converted the first Ford Mustang Mach-E into a hearse. They've been converting Ford vehicles into hearses, making this step a matter of when, not if. Okay, I like this angle better. I like this angle a lot better. I still don't like the grill on the non-GTs, but to put a GT as a hearse would also be a weird choice. Glass roof and optional electric tailgate. Wait. So your electric tailgate is not standard. You gotta get your guys to lift it up. All right then. So they're using the standard Mach-E, which means that it runs a 75 kilowatt hour battery, promising a range of up to 200 miles. Uh, this range is significantly less than the 275 miles quoted by Ford. Yeah, go figure. The aerodynamics profile has changed. Weight has changed. Wheelbase has changed. Let's see. The long-standing relationship we have with Ford enabled us to model the range on the Mach-E platform, and the Mach-E is the perfect base for comfortable, quiet, and respectful hearse and limousine, while also providing funeral directors with the benefits and innovations found in today's electric vehicles. I wonder if they made a non-hearse version, like just the funeral limo with all the extra doors. And this one was the Model 3, so it didn't look as bad as some of the previous ones we'd seen. And there's a couple Model S's as well. All right, so this one I liked. Bosch, vehicle supply specialists. They they're looking at adding ABS to bicycles. I like that because when you look at the amount of times that people have uh, issues with braking on bicycles, they go to do a panic stop and they don't pulse the brake, and they skid out of control and hurt themselves or others. We see that they've added ABS to motorcycles, so this is a natural evolution. I guess the hard part here is power, because on a motorcycle you've got your engine, you got your dynamo, and on the e-motorcycle you've got a big old battery. But uh, on the e-bike you've got the battery too, so I guess that makes it easier. So then I'm wondering they're going to put them on pedal bikes at that point. Let's see what they have to say for themselves. You're familiar with the scenario? You're coasting down a hill when all of a sudden a dog crosses the road. You grab your bikes and panic, and before you know it, you're on your belly with a mouthful of dirt, or maybe even missing a few teeth. Yeah, yeah. So that's exactly what I was saying. You panic stop and you just hold the brake down and pray. Um, all right, let's see. E-bike crashes are a lot much more violent because a lot of them make more than 500 watts of power and can hit speeds in excess of 25 miles an hour. And you wonder why they have a speed limit. Major e-bike system companies like Bosch have been working hard not just to make the motors and batteries more powerful and efficient, but to make the bikes safer as a whole. Electric bikes notwithstanding, braking system on bicycles have evolved leaps and bounds over the last decade or so, and we're now seeing the cutting edge brakes from the likes of SRAM, Shimano, all of which are designed to maximize braking power while eliminating brake fade and improving heat dissipation. Naturally, the next logical step would be to incorporate electronics into the equation. I mean, yeah, because if you can stop good and keep the control, that adds safety. Yeah, that's what Bosch was thinking about. So at CES in Vegas, they showcased their e-bike anti-lock braking system. And it's similar to how ABS on a car or motorcycle functions. Um, Bosch's system makes use of wheel speed sensors on either wheel, which can detect wheel slippage. At the same time, a pump actuates the brakes, minimizing skidding as a result, stopping distance. I don't know. No, I don't agree with that last part. APS doesn't make you stop shorter. it does not make you stop shorter. It keeps your control while you stop. Because when you think about how ABS works, when you push the brakes on standard brakes, like at the bicycle, you squeeze them and hold them, and they lock up, which maximum friction. What ABS does is multiple times a second, it lets the brakes go so that the wheels can rotate. And if you're letting the brakes go any percentage of the time, then you're not going to have shorter stopping distances, but you'll have more control. And that's what we're doing here. Especially when you think about it, what do the people do when they've locked up the brakes on the bike? They start steering and leaning, and they have no control. So this gives them that back to them and makes it safer. Real world applications include major reductions in e-bike related accidents, rear wheel skids, which can result in out of control low side crashes, as well as jackknife crashes, and doing over the bars can be eliminated. Yes, all of that. According to Bosch, equipping electric bicycles with ABS could reduce bike related accidents by up to 30%, including, or indeed, for inexperienced riders who aren't used to powerful hydraulic disc brakes, Bosch's e-bikes ABS could be a godsend. So the other thing that I'm thinking about here is forget even just lockup situations. They mentioned people going over the handlebars for in inefficient braking techniques. If somebody does kind of go heavy on the front brakes, they don't even have to wait for you to start flipping. They can just start letting the brakes go there, and then you don't get the momentum to alley oop it. You can just slide under control. Static friction more force than dynamic friction. Yes. All right, let's see. Where were we going next? Sorry, got distracted there. Let's do this one. The global EV sales have reached 10% of all new cars sold in 2022. Hot dog. Remember when we were like looking at at hybrids and wondering and hoping they'd get to 1.5%. EVs have thrashed that in a much shorter amount of time. So we're talking 10 years. 10 years to get to 10%. And why do I say 10 years? Because 2012 was the year that most people um, could obtain one. Not saying that everybody could afford one, but that most people could obtain one with the Nissan Leaf and the Chevy Volt. Um, and to a lesser extent, the Model S, because it did come out cheaper than the Roadster and way more practical than the Roadster. Um, that is incredible. So keep up the good work. See that get to 50% and see how fast it goes. I think at this point, once we hit that 10%, then we're at the no stopping it point. As the folks in Wyoming found out last week, their little resolution did not succeed. Although it still would have been humorous to me to see them succeed and watch them complain about the consequences of their own actions. All right, what is this? Indonesia is close to EV deals with BYD and Tesla, according to their Minister of Maritime Affairs and Investment. Big if true. What? You serious? I have a free limit on Reuters? All right, then. Moving on. This one. This one was more fun to me. Let's start here. So our friend Georgia, she brought up this article about the world's largest electric ferry. It can take you and your closest 2,000 friends across the ocean. So this is a regular ferry. It'll do vehicles, bicycles, humans, and what's really cool about this is it's all electric. And let's see, it's got two electric motors of 5 to 9.6 megawatts, not kilowatts, megawatts. Those are huge motors. They can go up to 25 knots for a max range of 100 nautical miles. That's pretty cool. So 2,100 people and 226 vehicles. That's substantial. So 100 miles with no sails. I'm guessing that's fully loaded. Let's see, where did we go? It was originally built to be powered by liquid natural gas, and they had second thoughts, and the builder and operator agreed that what was best for the environment and the customers was to go zero emission electric. Yay! They speak out on how the new electric ferry will revolutionize the industry. Zero emissions is the future. INCAT is based in Tasmania, one of the few places on the planet which has already delivered net zero. That's pretty cool. Is now poised to revolutionize the world's shipping fleet by delivering the world's first zero emissions lightweight ship. That is really cool. I like it. Swapping for electric propulsion requires significant redesign. Clifford says the company will replace 500 tons of equipment and fuel tanks with 400 tons of batteries and maintain its lightweight. So it actually gets 100 tons lighter. I wonder if that means it could do 100 tons more of haulage. And they're using aluminum instead of steel to build the vessel could halve its weight, and adding electric ferries would not be an additional cost compared to traditional ships. That's nice. Well, also when you think about what a ferry does, it's constantly going back and forth between two ports, so you can plug it up on both ends. Or if it's a short enough distance, plug it up on one end and do your round trip. Yeah, Dan, they did not succeed. But I mean, they couldn't have possibly thought they would either. When you look at it, it was all a me, look at me. We're going to send a copy of this resolution to the House and the Senate and the President and the Vice President and the Governor of California. Governor of California doesn't give a crap. I mean, how many cities does he have less than 500,000 people? He's not concerned about Wyoming. And besides, why waste the paper and the postage and the mail carriers, well, in the USPS's time and effort to deliver such a letter? Let's see. I mean, because we have news, he can read it if he cared. Shipping continues to be a significant contributor to carbon dioxide each year, about 3% globally. In Europe, maritime traffic accounts for 12%. Wow. The International Maritime Organization aims to reduce CO2 emissions from new ships from 2025 by 30%. That's pretty cool. While lowering overall average fleet emissions by 40% by 2030. Okay, so even they're not standing still. What are you doing, Mary? Electric ferries and ships can play a significant role in this transition. Zero emission ferries are, yeah, I mean, I rode on a ferry from Cape Cod to Martha's Vineyard, and the engine was just so loud. And when the wind was right, it was just smelly. And then when you passed another ship that was like dieseling it up, it was like, ugh, gross. I mean, because when you go combustion free, it's just like, from my understanding, because I've never smoked, it's just like when you go to a non-smoker, all of a sudden you can smell what you didn't smell before, and it's repulsive. That's how the smell of gasoline, especially the smell of partially burned combustion, is for me. Like especially from a diesel. I don't know why a diesel is so much more potent than a gasoline that's not burning oil. It just is to me. All right, so electric ships and ferries can play a significant role in the transition. Um, at an excellent pace to start electrifying as they generally run the same routes. Yep, I was just saying that. They make it easy to place charging infrastructure. Not only will electric ferries save the environment, they'll also save operators money. That part, going green so far, in almost all the cases, has proven to be a moneymaker for these businesses, especially the ones that that put large electric storage on on the budget, like we saw in Australia and in the U.S. with the mega packs. The first all-electric ferry in Norway claimed it cut costs by 80%. Ellen, the self-proclaimed largest electric ferry before Incats, of course, is operating in southern Denmark and helps save 2,000 tons of CO2 annually. Of course, comments are probably broken. Yep. Wow. So this one doesn't even have to be a new vehicle maker for Tesla's price drop to help everybody out. CarMax sold over half of its Tesla inventory in 24 hours. Tesla dropped prices in a massive way, and now used Teslas are much more affordable. Half their inventory in a day. That's incredible. Then we also saw where they weren't making offers for a little bit on not just they, but like several were not making offers on used Teslas while he waited for everything to sort out. But it doesn't just go there. I don't know if I got the article in this one. In China, the wait times have started to go up because the sales have increased massively. In the States, the sales have increased massively. The waits are coming back. 57% of its inventory in the past 24 hours. Wow. So on 113 at 8:09 Eastern, 696 Teslas in stock. At 115 at 8:09 Eastern, 301 Teslas in stock. That's incredible. He continued tracking and found out the number of used Teslas dropped to 275, then 243, and then finally 211. Wow. Today, at the time of the writing, CarMax only has 170 Tesla models left in stock. We imagine that drop is noticeable at various rivals of the online car sales company, so long as they all drop their prices accordingly. Yeah, that's cool. Let's see what good comments on what whining happens here. No comments? There we go. CarMax prices are still crazy high for used Teslas, haven't come down. CarMax must not have sold them. Maybe they ditched them at auction. It's possible, but I don't think that's what they did. I agree. For anyone who qualifies for the tax credit and wants a Tesla, also does the used prices shown are too high to make any sense. The price have been dropping based on Car Guru data. I was looking over the weekend and saw quite a few Teslas with 5-digit price cuts. Wow. Much fewer now. It looks like Tesla's price cuts grabbed the attention of the price conscious buyers. I had bookmarked one with 19.7 in price cuts. Surprisingly, now it's gone. So these three VINs, 14,751, 17,000, and 13,000 in price cuts. Carvana, on the other hand, hasn't dropped prices at all and still has 700 to 800 Teslas, just like they had a week ago. Do the research. I like it. I still won't consider Tesla. He doesn't. He thinks they're unattractive. Well, oh well. Are we sure that CarMax sold them? CarMax is in very poor financial shape right now, and because they've bet wrong in the used market, and are left with massive inventories that paid way too much for, and they've been dumping their cars at auctions to bring down the liabilities. Yeah, but you see, here's the problem. Tesla just dropped their prices, and let's see what dates those are. Because if they weren't days that they were running auctions, then they couldn't have sold them all in auction in a day. And then the other part of it is, with the prices dropping, unless the price was just really good, nobody wants to buy them and hold on to them. The point where we saw people couldn't trade theirs in. All right, so 113 and 115. 115 was definitely a Sunday because we had a show on 115. Yeah. All right, so it's probably not an auction on Sunday. Let's say. All right, move on to, let's load up some new articles here. Oh, I was talking about Archimoto. Here they are in our list. And then Tesla and Audi did something cool. Ah, yes, and then Winnebago excited me. Okay, so let's do this. Let's move on to Archimoto, get it out of the way. And let's see. So they shut down the factory. The stock plunges as they warn of bankruptcy. And on Wednesday, they shut down production in Oregon, saying they're out of money or nearly out of money. To try and keep them afloat, the company said in a regulatory filing it was moving to sell additional shares and that they may have to enter bankruptcy protection. Selling 12 million in additional shares at $3 each. Ouch. A figure that was less than half of the company's trading value at the close of markets on Tuesday. The company added, however, it would still need substantial additional funding, warning that it may not be available on acceptable terms. Yeah, go figure. When you're a risk, your terms are not, you don't get to set them usually. As a result, the stock plunged more than 50%, is now hovering around 250 per share. We've altered production of our vehicles and require, okay, so the same thing we saw. May not be available to us on acceptable terms and at AI, and if not so, will be required to cease our operations and or seek bankruptcy protection. All right, and so this is one that Dan really liked, was the prototype rapid responder, and it's one I still didn't get, but like when it made sense to use it, I got that. Like he was saying that you've got tight quarters, and you send the vehicle in, get the person. It seems like a lot of moving the patient to me, though. The Deliverator also was one that made sense to me. You load it up with pizzas or flowers or whatever, send it through cities. And then Russell pointed out to me that because it's a three-wheeler, it's just as hard to park, except it's shorter. They recently had a valuation of more than $1 billion, and after Wednesday's announcement, wow, they're worth $6.5 million. I wonder if that's how much that is over just their equipment and inventory. Uh, So good ideas avoid government involvement at all costs. EVs are subsidized everywhere and no end in sight. Okay, whatever. Okay. Wow. I guess nobody was sad. Let's see. Let's move on to some better news. All right. So Audi and Tesla, they showed off a proof of concept for what they call a battery passport label. The end goal is to understand where the materials of the battery came from. The Wood says, I thought they would work as electric tuk-tuks in India. Yeah, that's a good point. And maybe they can still do that. Like you'll have to relocate, but that would be actually great to make them as tuk-tuks. Just, yeah, it'd be safer too because when you're going around turns with the Delta instead of the tadpole. Yeah. All right, so you hear a lot of people say, "Ah, batteries are full of dangerous materials." Blah blah blah. The starving children in Africa, um, and you point out that when you're buying from a reputable company, they take care to make sure not to end up contributing to exploitation of humans. Um, Tesla and Audi are now trying to prove where their stuff came from. And says Archimoto was doing too much, trying to be the Tesla of micro EV. They should have stuck to the FUV and developed doors instead of so many models. Exactly. They kept, here's this new thing, here's this new thing, here's this new thing, and it wasn't good for them. Bennett says this looks interesting. Good to know the sources. Yeah, exactly. So let's see what they had to say for themselves, and let's take a look at this sample here. So you've got your battery ID. I like that. You've got your chemistry type, and let's see if they have a clearer picture than this headline. Um, Not exactly. Yeah, it's much clearer. Whoa, it's flashing. Okay, so you got your battery password ID, you got the battery serial number, and then you get the chemistry. So NMC M50. So this looks like an Audi to me. No, it's Tesla. It says Tesla at the top. Uh, oh, they have smart air suspension, I guess. Get your manufacturer date of 8/30/22. Battery cell types is cylindrical. Get your chemistry. NCM M50. Battery manufacturer is Tesla. Country of EV assembly is China. So this is a Model 3 or Model Y then, right? Number of cells per battery, 4416. Battery weight, 481 kilograms. Produced by Tesla. Country of origin, China. So this will also help with the IRA, where you have to, after March, you'll have to know where the battery comes from. They can say, here it is. And then per battery too. So that's even better. So you can't say, oh, well, they're just claiming this. No, here's the proof. The battery cells were made by LG. The country of cell production was China. Total energy 78.05 kilowatt hours. Energy density of 0.1622 watt hours per kilogram. Rated capacity is 219 amp hours. At what voltage? Oh, there we go. At 357 volts DC. As expected lifetime is 1200 cycles from 0 to 100. And the temperature range, minimum and maximum, is -30°C to +60°C. That is incredible. Audi has a similar layout. So you get your battery passport ID, and you get your battery model, but no battery serial number that I can see at the top there. Battery materials ESG. Okay. Battery status is the original. EV manufacturer is Audi. Battery producer is Audi. Oh, okay. They built the pack, but not the modules. The modules were built by Samsung SDI, and their demo doesn't have a date. Assembled in Belgium. Maybe that's why it doesn't have a serial number too, because it's a demo. Country of production, Belgium. Cell production was Hungary. They used prismatic, NCA, 432 cells per battery for a total of 114 kilowatt hours at 228 amp hours between 226 to 396 to 453 volts DC. What? Which is it? The chemistry is NCA. The weight is 728 kilograms. Energy density is 0.157. And they didn't disclose the expected lifetime, and their operating temperature is 30 to 60 C. Interesting they don't have a lifetime on theirs versus the 1200 for Tesla, 16.16, 0.15. Another Audi here. This one has a serial number. This one's by Cattle, no date, so it's probably still just another demo. Built in Germany, cells are made in China, which makes sense. It's Cattle. Also prismatic, 180 cells per battery, 100 kilowatt hours, 151 amp hours. That same triple through volts DC, which I still don't get. 450 to 662 to 742. This one is NCM 811. So this is not lead, or not lead. This is not iron. NCM. 580 kilograms, 0.1. Oh, this is actually more dense than the Model 3 battery there. Lifetime was not disclosed. I would certainly hope that they disclose this to all the ones that actually make it to customers. And same -30 to +60C. All right. The battery proof of concepts, part of the Global Battery Alliance's efforts. So Global Battery Alliance, but they were shorted. The short name is GAB. Shouldn't it GGBA? Anyway, unless it's German or something. January 18th at the World Meeting of World Economic Forum in Davos. The two automakers' battery passport concepts reveal the source of the materials used in their packs, although the data is still incomplete at the moment. Tesla's proof of concept visualizes the data for the cobalt on a long-range battery pack built in China, confirming that 100% of the cobalt came from the Kamto Copper Company in Democratic Republic of Congo. Oh, ouch. But as the passport reveals, that's just 1% of all the materials used in the pack. Not as bad. So there's still a long way to go for the concept to reach full traceability. Let's see. In the two pilots, Audi's traceability is shown as higher with 10% and 13.6% respectively for Hungarian and Chinese made cells. Let's tell you who GAB is. Battery Passport establishes a digital twin of the physical battery that conveys information about all applicable sustainable and life cycle requirements based on a comprehensive definition of a sustainable battery. It aims to bring new levels of transparency to the global battery value chain by collecting, exchanging, collating, and reporting trusted data among all life cycle stakeholders on the material provenance and the battery's chemical makeup and manufacturing history and sustainable performance. Sustainability performance, the GBA writes on its websites. Well, there they put it the way you'd expect, GBA instead of GAB. So this data itself isn't new in the sense that Audi, Tesla, and a bunch of the others were already reporting this data, but it's a lot less work to go looking for it. And I like that it ties it to your specific battery. You can say, hey, here's a battery my car shipped with. Oh, you were giving me a warranty replacement. Let me look and see how that. Oh, that one is a Chinese battery. Okay. Oh, that one is a Congolese battery at 50%. Oh, oh. I like it. So you know exactly what you're getting rather than just this broad strokes. Hey, we had this many tons come from the Congo, this many tons came from India, this much came from Canada. He's like, mine has all Canadian parts or whatever. All right, so we got a couple comments here. Dan was continuing on the Archimoto, says that the purchase of the tilting motor works to make an e-bike was a questionable move that was not smart at all. And Dawood is on topic with the batteries and says, we'll dig them out of landfills and we'll know who put them there. Just kidding. Yeah. He's kidding, but these folks that do actually believe that we put in the batteries in landfills, we're not. They're too expensive to do that, even as a dead lump of materials. Like I keep saying, a baby. Oh, baby. How are you? Moto, say hi. Did you just wake up from your nap? Yeah. Aw. All right. So as I was saying, you can mine the old packs, and it's a lot easier to get battery grade materials from a battery than it was from uh, rocks or in the earth. It's a lot less energy, a lot less chemicals to reprocess them back to battery grade. And since we are talking just elements here, not alloys, not well, some of them are alloys, but not mixed in any way. They're still elemental, and you can get them back out, reprocess them so they're at the grade you need because they will have corrosion and stuff going on. Are you waving at the audience? That's how she waves. She waves like this. Yeah. So it's a lot easier to get your materials cheaper. That's what I keep saying. Doing the green thing is often going to make you money. It's a lot cheaper to get your batteries from old batteries as well. Why you hit me in the face? All right, let's see. Dan says their only saving measure is to use tilting motor works for established electric motorcycles like Harley Davidson Livewire. The problem is the tilting motor works useful for a two-wheel vehicle, or are there that many Livewire trikes being converted over? Bennett says this will be useful later if they need to compare source quality too. Absolutely, because then you're not just relying on, hey, there's a recall on these VINs. You can say, hey, batteries with this pedigree did this well, and batteries with this pedigree did this well, and batteries from here they absolutely flopped, and that would help not just the manufacturer but the consumer to be able to see that. To go, please. Thank you. All right, you can see Tesla's full proof of concept here, and Audi's two passports are here and here. So let's load these up and go through those other tabs because I noticed there were more tabs, and that was interesting to me. All right, so let's go here. Let's see if anybody commented on this thing too. Oh yeah, no comments at all. All right, so let's look at the Tesla sample. Audi and Tesla agreed to publish the results of the battery passport proof of concept to demonstrate feasibility of collecting sustainability performance data integrated with material provenance and technical data according to GBA's rulebooks. Rulebooks and templates from every point of at least one supply chain. Given the pioneering nature of these efforts, the quality of the data presented in the proof of concept battery passports has not been fully verified and was partially complemented with reasonable data estimates and data from ongoing ESG efforts. To establish the proof of concept, Audi and Tesla and their value chain partners piloted the GBA tools only on select raw materials supply chains, not all battery inputs. Therefore, the data presented within the battery passports represents exemplary data and does not purport to provide full representation of ESG performance of Audi or Tesla's full battery supply chain. Accordingly, Audi and Tesla will not be held liable for any errors or emissions contained. Really? Liable for any errors or emissions contained in the data provided, and no representation of warranty, express or implied, is made regarding the accuracy, adequacy, completeness, legality, reliability, or usefulness of the data. The data may be subject to change without notice. Okay, so this may explain why they focused on their Congo one, because that one is one they were already monitoring to make sure it wasn't tainted. So it was a lot easier to just go through the report and pick that back up. Bennett says, I bet LG has been trying to figure out to see if they can pinpoint the finger anywhere else. Absolutely, they have. But one thing that keeps coming up is that those were both pouch and prismatic cells, and it's a lot harder to keep them from doing their thing of swelling and having the dendritic fires than it is on a jelly roll. I guess they have jelly rolls too, but on a jelly roll in a cylindrical can. And then a regular prismatic is also less susceptible to changing shape and size than a pouch is. Hey, sweetie. Boop boop be doo boop. Did you have a good nap? You had a good nap? Can you not eat my headphone cord? This microphone here? This microphone is 13 years old. I'd like the headphones to last as long too. Let's see. All right, so we're in the Tesla passport. So we saw this picture before. So let's move on to the materials tab. All right, so recycled raw materials, no info. Materials traceability in the pilot is 1%. The GBA member coverage is 1%. First trace material was cobalt. The physical amount per battery not disclosed. Second trace material and the physical amount. So 100% Glencore Camto Copper Company in DRC. 0% not traced. So of that 1% that they used, 100% of it came from there. That's pretty cool to know. Here we go, their ESG data. Yeah. So not enough for benchmarking. Their child labor is safeguarded. Questions answered at 14 out of 14. Number of companies 5. Human rights is safeguarded at 15 out of 15. The indicator for greenhouse gas number of companies is 5. 74 kilograms per kilowatt hour. 7 kilograms per kilowatt hour of BCF or PMA. Right, and so we can see their primary and secondary data percentages. Not enough for quality seal. I mean, these are good starts. All right, I need those glasses, baby. Yeah, yeah, I'm Papa. Papa. All right, so here we see their data sources. We got the mining is known, the refining is known, precursor, cam, cathode, anode, and cell are all known. The battery module is Na, I'm guessing, because Tesla made it. Battery is known. Material flows are all traced except for the anode. And the ESG data is reported except for modules and the anode is estimated. So the data verification is rated 1 out of 3 for basic, traceability is 3 out of 3 for high, and the interoperability is low. And they are tracking the individual batteries, which is awesome. It started in December 19th of 2021, and it ended in August 2nd of 2022. So I'm guessing that's from the first mining of all the stuff to when it was put together into a pack to ship off to put in a car in August. That's a long supply chain. 8 months. Not over 8 months. Yeah. All right. So let's look at the Audi real quick, and then let's look at the second Audi since that was the one that had the most data. Nah, let's look at them both. I don't care. Share this tab, close this tab, and we're just going to glance at it. I understand. All right. So we saw this. This is the one that didn't say a specific battery. No recycled raw materials that they know of, or no info, I should say. So this will be awesome once we see Redwood and their friends, competitors, start to take off. We'll start to see more and more recycled raw materials in these things as well. All right, so they also first traced the cobalt. Their tracing numbers are lower. Their second one is 100% though. Is that chilly? Would you like to crawl in your bed? Here. Yeah. No? You showing them? You smiling? Let's see. So they are a GBA member. All right, so the average score was safeguarded. The human rights was 51 out of 60. Interesting. They answered all the questions. Yeah. All right, and their data. Everything is known except for the anode is partial. And everything else is known and reported. Okay. The material flow aggregation is a batch of batteries. Okay, that's still not bad. It's like, this pallet. Here we go. And this one started in January of 21 and made it into a full pack at the end of 22, December 31st, 2022. These supply chains are super long. Let's check out Audi's other one. So this one is a specific battery. Also cobalt, traceability 13.6%, 0.6% covered. Cattle in China. Secondary is out of Australia. The secondary was lithium. Kind of cool to see. So you can actually, once this is done, you should be able to see everything that went into the pack. Let's see. David says that's a start. Tesla's not perfect, but they do publish a lot of safety and sustainability data. Absolutely. And the Bennett points out that ESG is the PR thing. BP is good at it, and Tesla's terrible at it. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And as we saw, yeah, the exact same one you're talking about, BP versus Tesla. We saw, was it last year? Well, obviously it was last year, but it was the beginning or end of last year. We saw BP got a great score at it, and Tesla almost failed at it. But then when you looked at some of the items that went into it, hopefully the Global Battery Alliance isn't just using the nebulous concept, but they've defined what's in there. But we won't know that until something is out other than this pilot data. But we see that Tesla got a better score than Audi in it as well. So it's doing something, but is it doing what we expect it to do? Because that's a very good point. Because when we went into it before looking at that, it seemed to be uh, better and more than what it was. But what was it? Came to us as a story about stocks, I believe. And like you said, BP or Shell or one of them scored like insanely higher than Tesla did. Let's see. So they all answered all their questions as well. This one went through 10 companies, and they only got 58 out of 63 on child labor. And I understand that you're poor and you need money, but as the larger, richer company to these individuals, they have a responsibility to do it ethically and make sure they get paid a living wage and safely, and are not using child labor if possible. Right, so this one flips the script a little bit, and a lot of it was estimated, but it was traced. They had the one partial on the anode again. Everything is known though. This one started in November of 21 and became a battery, an actual battery rather than a pallet of batteries, on December 1st of 22. So it's at least a year from mining to making a battery pack based on these. That's incredible. All right, so next, I've got a fun one. Too bad it's not anywhere near where I can see one. So hydrogen electric TIVA charge on. Let's see. TIVA plans on fuel cell trucks for new electric truck. And this is from Tina Kacey. And what I liked about this one is, I don't really. That's right. I don't really care for hydrogen, but what I did like about this one is, yes, the yellow ring. Yeah, I got a yellow ring. Thank you. Is that this one is doing it as a hybrid. So, and I don't mean hybrid in the sense that all hydrogen electric vehicles are hybrids, but like this is a plug-in hybrid, so you can still charge the battery and run it as an electric for your local runs. And then if you need to make a run to the next town over, you can fill it up with hydrogen and go. That's where hydrogen makes more sense to me, assuming that it's green hydrogen and not gray hydrogen. All right, so let's see what Tina Kacey said. I think it's one of her shorter articles. All right, so let's see. Last fall, they upped the ante with a 19-ton hydrogen fuel cell electric truck. So it's 7.5-ton hydrogen electric model. The 19-ton variant benefits from the company's revolutionary dual energy system, combining lithium-ion batteries and a hydrogen fuel cell range extender. The range extender concept makes way more sense than trying to do everything on hydrogen, especially if it's something that is normally local, and then you just need to make an occasional trip outside of local. You drop this. So the batteries, battery-powered truck with fuel cells has yet to emerge, but will soon, if all goes according to plan. They received European Commission, or so European Community whole vehicle type approval, so they're on the roll, and also from the Swedish Transport Authority. So they claim 227 kilometers on a single charge for batteries only, make it suitable for urban use and other short-haul deliveries. With the fuel cell range extender, the company anticipates up to 570 kilometers. So not only can you make another run, you can fuel up again there when you get there, come back, and then leave it at the depot and recharge it. There you go. Okay, so this assuming it's green hydrogen, I can get behind this. I joined late. Was Aptera choosing max covered? Any indication they're doing more than 1.5 kilowatt wall charging? Um, well, we get to them. We didn't get to them yet. We mentioned them, but we didn't get to them. You have a yellow ball. I have a yellow ring. Yeah. What are you gonna do with the yellow ball? You're gonna drop it, aren't you? Here's a yellow ring. She's not. She's thinking I won't pay attention. You're gonna drop it. I know you. Look at you. You get it all lined up. She's trying to drop it where I can't catch it. You're not wearing a yellow bracelet. A yellow ring with a yellow bracelet. There she goes. Let me drop it before he puts his hand back. Let's see. The large vehicles come closer to practical. The hydrogen storage and system maintenance is still worrisome. Absolutely. I think hydrogen makes sense with some planes, cruise ships, large scale vehicles, etc., not regular consumers. Yeah, something like this. And if you have it sourced correctly, the airplanes and ships and stuff, okay. Especially if you just convert a combustor over to hydrogen combustion, assuming that you do it safely, because you can't just throw a couple megatons of hydrogen into a fuel oil bunker. It won't stay. It'll go straight through the side of the ship. Uh, All right. Natural gas is the primary sticking point for fuel cells as a decarbonation tool. Yeah, because natural gas is a fossil. That's not green hydrogen. That's gray hydrogen. All right. So the 800-pound gorilla in the room is the fuel cell room started apparently Nicola. Yeah, Nicola did not help the industry. Follow me on Trainwreck Twitter. All right, so here is a link to. Oh, there's that thing again. I need to save a screenshot for my melon folks.
Yeah.
Show them that this thing is garbage. So the next question is this showing up on Facebook? Stand by. If it's not showing up on Facebook, then why is Facebook blocking my chat? All right, so I guess me. And then January 18th. That's not today. And yeah. So Facebook is blocking my chat and not even showing the stream. That's helpful. So what I'll do is I'll paste this into the YouTube chat. And sorry for those of you on Twitch. I don't have a Twitch control panel open to put it there. So what I can do is share Eddie's comment, and then I will share the URL on the screen so those of you that are not on YouTube can click on it. If done right, a hydrogen semi might be more practical than a Tesla semi. Maybe not Tesla, but definitely more than the others. Because when you're looking at Tesla's already maximized your drive time, your legal drive time. So the only thing that you add by hydrogen is more flexibility. But right now, the only customer already has all their endpoints covered. So until we get to like owner operators or people who might change a depot, it doesn't even add that. So potentially it could. But at the moment, it doesn't. All right, so there's the link to the article we just went through. And this one was interesting. because all the people talking about doom and gloom for Tesla for cutting prices, and Elon having verbal diarrhea on Twitter and elsewhere. Um, Tesla managed to go up 19 spots in 2023 in the top 25 most valuable brands ranking. Let's see where they ended up. I saw that and then saved it for you guys. This is a Model 3 Performance with the 0G wheels. All right, so they came up. Let's talk about Elon's Twitter. So, Brand Finance, independent valuation strategy company, consultancy, sorry. It's helped its clients quantify the financial value of their respective brands since '96. The firm's most recent rankings, Tesla ranked 9th of the world's most 25 valuable brands. For comparison, Tesla's ranked 28th in last year's rankings. Incredible. So they went up 43.9% from $46,010 brand value to $207,000 2023 value. They're being ranked as an automobile company. We'll see if that changes next year because their batteries are doing gangbusters, as we talked about with the Mega Pack.
Papa.
Yes, sweetie. Yeah. Ba ba ba.
Ba.
Ah. You have a car. Now she's gonna throw the car. I know you. You're gonna throw that, aren't you? You want up? No, you don't. Though. Okay. All right. So let's see. So top 25 most valuable brands. Top 10. Amazon, Apple, Alphabet, or Google in this case. Oh, you know what? No, it would be brand, not companies. So Google's the brand. Microsoft, Walmart, Samsung, IBC. Never heard of them. ICBC. Never heard of them. Verizon, I recognize. Tesla and TikTok. So who's ICBC? Chinese banking. Okay. I don't want to read the whole report. Ba ba ba. Ba ba. All right, so Tesla prevailed despite the endless. Well, they if they keep executing, they can. But if they stop executing, then that will continue. Public sentiment by media utterances fools Aaron. Yeah, let's go Tesla. Tesla gained brand loyalty from conservatives, almost no competition. While it lost brand loyalty from liberals, a lot of competition. Maybe. The problem right now is decidedly anti-EV. Yeah, that's a problem right there. Obscure marketing company run by one guy no one has ever heard of that carries a lot of weight. This max that's pretty gaslighting. The other customers, the ones who drive local deliveries, look like they would be covered by other non-Tesla electric semis. Yeah, they could do that. Especially when you look at the ranges of some of those other ones we talked about. But you also look at the prices and the charge times and the battery longevity, and it might not hurt to over truck yourself with a Tesla truck. But we'll see as the ramp happens, and we'll see what the competitors do. Because the next closest thing was the Nikola Tre. Like everything else, the peanut gallery needs to see an electric semi do all the things instead of admitting 90% of the use cases can transition right away. Absolutely. Exactly right. I need a car with twice as much range as a gas tank, just in case, all over again. Absolutely. Like, I need to be able to go 1,000 miles on a charge. Like, how often do you drive 1,000 miles in a sitting? Never. Okay. How often do you do 1,000 miles without refueling? I can't. Okay. Well, what does your current car do for refueling? 260 miles. Oh, so then you only need a 300-mile battery. Wood, how you doing?
Good. How's everybody? How are you doing?
Great.
How you and the little one?
Little one.
I like the art in the background.
So what do you think about this hydrogen extender truck and this valuable brand situation?
Um, Hydrogen. I guess there's a place for hydrogen. I was literally driving. We were driving back from dropping the kids off, and I saw what's that? The Honda Clarity,
Mhm.
um,
The
dropping the
hydrogen one?
water. Yeah, dropping the water on the freeway, and I
And it
said,
wasn't snowing.
right? And I said, it's I mean, it's just water. It's just hydrogen and oxygen. So it's like it's non-contaminated, non-polluting, clear water. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking if every car was dropping that much water, we
Yes.
might have a problem. It's a lot. You're dropping a lot of water.
Cars
This
just
might
horse
be
skiing everywhere.
right. This might become dangerous.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you brought up the cold weather, man. That all ices up.
Yes. Or imagine in Florida, all of a sudden now you've got just like a fog situation.
So I don't know. I'll stick with airplanes. I'm good for
Yeah,
hydrogen on
airplanes
planes.
and ships. I get because like we looked at that ferry, it's only got 100-mile range with like a 90-ton pack.
Right, that's not very much. Put some hydrogen on there.
Oh, it'd be easier to refill it quickly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yes.
yeah.
You want to see?
So yeah, I was looking at that brand. What is this
The brand
brand
loyalty or brand value?
loyalty value? Oh yeah, okay. And Tesla's at the top now.
They're at number 9 from number 28.
Did they figure out the door panels? Is that what happened? The panel gaps.
Well, what was amazing is that, despite all the noise we're hearing about Elon and all the people who say, "Oh, we're done with Tesla," and then you see this, and then you also see what happens when they drop the prices, new and used. Like they sold out in China, despite all the complaints. They sold out in the U.S. again, despite all the complaints. And people asking now for free FSD and free supercharging. That's not going to happen. Elon's going to throw one finger on each hand up.
Oh, for the people who bought
bought right before
in
the cut.
December.
Yeah,
That sucks for them.
it does. It totally does. But I bet you when these cars deliver, they're going to find they had something that the new folks don't get, and
It's
plus they
always
had
something.
a couple extra months of use of their car. So
I don't know. You always put it best. You buy the Tesla you can afford when you can afford it, and don't be mad at everybody else because their
right,
Tesla is going to be different, or their Tesla is going to be better than yours. Period.
it might not be better, but it's definitely going to be
It's not
different.
be right. It's not going to be the same. So I mean, they're always improving. So if we
Yeah,
look at it that way, that the company is always improving, then they're always trying to make the next one a little better.
exactly.
So,
Yeah, we've got a couple of folks with Model 3s and Model Ys experiencing what it feels like to own a legacy Tesla now. Like they're like, I can't do Zoom. What do you mean I can't do Zoom? I've got a camera.
wait, I can't do Zoom. Something
No,
special to
can't do
do
Zoom.
Zoom. Oh
You have to
man.
have the Ryzen chip to be able to do
Okay,
Zoom.
that's
And
fine.
and the ones I feel for are the Model S refreshes and Model X refreshes where they can't do the Steam games, despite the fact that was advertised on their car, and the tilt screen was also advertised on their car when they bought it. I'm sure Tesla will make it right.
Tesla has to make that right. That was advertised.
Yeah, that was advertised.
I think Ryan Shaw was pointing that out.
Yeah,
That you can see in the marketing a picture of the Witcher game. So
yeah,
it's like,
exactly. One thing I will recommend for anybody who's got a Tesla with something that says coming soon, take screenshots of everything with dates. So that way, if you have to first go to arbitration and then sue them,
class,
you
class
have
action.
the proof.
So yeah, but yeah, these price drops are something else. How it's really affecting the used car market. Um, so I'm going back and forth with my brother. He keeps calling me.
Yeah,
He wants to get into a Model 3, and he's
yeah,
showing me the used car prices and the new one. I keep telling him, just get the new one. Just get the new one.
yeah.
The
Especially if they're
used,
anywhere close, because you get your
right?
warranty, you get all the
Yes.
new stuff that Tesla is telling us that our cars are too old for, whether they actually are or not.
Right. That was the last calculation I showed him. It was like, if you're going to get a used car, I mean, the price difference should be at least 20%. If you're not
Right.
saving at least 20%, then what's the point?
Right.
Just
Plus, on the new one, you get your tax credit. On the used
right.
one, you don't get your tax credit unless your income's at a certain level. And well, I mean, same with the new one, but the level has changed a lot for the used car. And I don't know that the new used car credit has started until March.
Right. Oh, that's right. But the used also you need, well, if you're getting it used from a dealer,
Dealer. Yeah.
but it still needs to be below 25,000.
Oh, well, there's no
Yeah.
good Model
Tesla
3s
doesn't
that you can want
exist.
for years
It
at that
doesn't
price.
exist.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure there's some out there at that price, but are they going to last him as long as he's going to keep it?
Right. No, I haven't found one for less than,
Uh,
I found one for 30 grand. That's about the
yeah,
cheapest I could find it. And that
which
one had
is right.
130,000 miles on it.
Right, and we don't know if it's been wrecked, and we don't know if it's
Right.
eligible for the software.
Yes, I wonder. So I could say just get the new. Based on his income, he'll qualify for it. He's just really nervous about the whether or not they're gonna how it's gonna work. But as far as
Yeah,
I understand, once you start the process, that 7,500 comes off right there.
right. As long as you pick it up before the 31st so 28th of February or 31st of March, whichever it is.
But that did make me beg the question:
Yeah,
what if you don't qualify? I mean, they have
well,
no way of knowing
the
what your
IRS will get
taxes
it
were.
back from you.
Okay, so
Did you
you'll get
did
it
you
from
did you
Tesla,
take
but
this? Did you get it?
I see. It makes sense. Tesla will
Yeah,
give you the money, but then the IRS will, when you file your taxes, they'll they'll grab it back.
right. Let's see real quick before I say what I was going to say next about people who don't qualify. Um, David says, I have 5 good years, almost March of '98. I'll never trade, even though newer Model 3s may have any improvements. Exactly, like mine is a unicorn. Like I've got the free supercharging and internet, and like it would take a lot for me to want to get rid of this thing. That doesn't say I won't get another one, but I don't want to just throw it to the wolves because all that cool stuff will be gone. It'll just have a really weird configuration, like super fast charger, paint that was canceled. That credit is for bolts and volts, basically. Maybe the i3.
Bolts and
Absolutely.
bolts. You get a Nissan, you get a Leaf in there.
Yeah. So I'm gonna open a new tab to get my tweets because my tweets are not all for this show. I'm not ashamed of them, but they're not all for this show. Um, so Twitter / custom.
No, I'm the same way. I've got that unicorn super. Got the free charging for life. Got the grandfathered in on the premium connectivity. Tow package. I yeah. Every time I think about trading mine for my Cybertruck, it's like, what are you crazy? My wife keeps
Right.
telling me, you're keeping that car forever.
Yeah, just add the Cybertruck.
Right. I mean, and I got the unlimited warranty on the
Yeah,
powertrain, 8
exactly.
years, but unlimited
8 years.
miles.
Yeah. So I got at least that long to keep onto it, or at least right
Right.
before it's over to get rid of it. Okay, so I see that it announced that I'm here, and I see that we're live on Twitter, so that's working. And I am looking now for there it is. So let's share this tab. So Brianna Wu pointed out that cars that don't qualify for the 7,500 EV tax credits have a workaround, and I agree that it's disgusting. I don't recall if the tweet had the article before I moved on or not, but I saw a video that explained it from out of spec that explains it well. And
What's the
like
workaround?
Brianna and Musk, I agree these cars probably don't need the subsidies, but I'd like to see them tackle fossil fuel subsidies before coming back to EVs. Because, I mean, when you look at it, yes, they are doing money for EVs, but does it really actually hurt anybody compared to what we're doing with fossil fuels right now globally? But just for the
100%.
simple,
This
yeah,
income limit is bull crap. If we're trying to push EVs, then push EVs. Everybody should get the credit.
right. And I understand people being upset that you're just buying luxury cars with it. It's not just luxury cars, and
Right.
there was a reason they put all that stuff in there. However, this next part, and I totally agree with her that if you put in an income limit and if you put in that the car must be American, you shouldn't be able to get a Mercedes with this thing. At least not a Mercedes built outside of the U.S.
Mhm.
Uh, So I'd like to see them tackle fossil fuels before coming back to EVs, etc. And like everybody, I'd like to see the prices of the non-Chinese penalty boxes continue dropping. And so like the candy is okay, but I wouldn't like say that's a great car. I would say that's a good first car. It's a good car for a kid. Go to the candy store, go to the candy machine, whatever. Get you a little 100 mile, $10,000 car. I'm not going to say that this electric car is a great car. I'm not going to say it's a bad car. but
Hmm.
I can't tell you with a straight face, oh, this is a great family car. It's the only one you need. I'd be lying to you.
No,
um,
but I don't know what I mean. I get the what Joe mentioned needed to happen as far as the provisions for Made in America and where the
yeah,
battery components come from. I get that, but I
yeah,
just wish they had more emphasis on just the efficiency of the car. You know,
right. Like these
that would be
hybrids, these plug-in hybrids should not qualify,
right.
especially not
Plug-in
the plug-in
hybrid.
hybrid SUVs.
Yeah, I mean that's the main thing to deal with climate change is having a car that goes the same distance and uses less energy, and that's
Right.
what everything should be driving toward.
Right. And I'm not faulting the consumers of these plug-in hybrids because I started with two plug-in hybrids. Like they're a great way to learn what your range is and to get your feet steady. My contention with the plug-in hybrids is the manufacturers who make them. Um, uh, Eddie says, being a Bolt owner, they're definitely not all luxury cars. Exactly. But when you look at it, the Bolt is still a lot nicer than some of the other cars that are out there that actually are EVs. But
Mhm.
I think it's the most average, best price one you can get in that meets the letter of the law and the quality and what it's an American car. It's nice. I mean, it's not a luxury car at all. You can't even say it's premium like the Teslas, but I wouldn't feel bad about somebody getting in a Bolt that had the recalls for the seatbelt and the battery.
Yeah, I stopped looking at boats. Sorry, Eddie. Because my daughter, she got a driver's license, so now she thinks it comes with a car. So we're
Yeah,
looking at the used leaves. I mean, you're still at right around 18,000 for the 2018. That's when you
used
get
Leaf.
the new body style.
Yeah,
But I don't look at the bolts anymore because I just don't know what's going on with all these recalls. I haven't been able
right.
to keep up with
You
it.
got to do your homework on it before you pick one up.
Right. It's a
Uh,
lot.
Doug DeMuro's Bolt review is excellent. I never noticed the weird double taillights of cars until that. Yeah, the Bolt and the Audi and a couple others, like they stand out. Like, what is that? And then one of the key is I'd give something to STEM hybrids like the Volt, but for the 2 kilowatt EVET, nothing. Thankfully, the EVET doesn't have a plug, so if anybody gives the money to the EVET, they've just committed tax fraud. Um,
Oh,
but
because
yeah, like the
it
Volt,
self charges.
the self-charging hybrid. Yeah, that really is the Volt style cars. They meet the letter. Like they run as EVs until they run out of power. If you slam the pedal real hard, they don't switch to gas. Um, very specific situations like it being too cold or being a monthly maintenance cycle or something. That's pretty much the only time that the gas steps in, and it doesn't provide any traction power. I don't. I think that it should provide traction power if that's more efficient. And in fact, there were very few situations where the Bolt actually would provide traction power, but they were rare.
Mhm.
And so, Out of Spec did this video explaining that the EV tax credit loophole. It's talking about how people are able to get cars that don't qualify, uh, either for not being from the right pedigree, or for the owner making too much or not enough income. Uh, if you don't make enough income and you do this, like you don't make enough income to take the deduction, but you can somehow afford a new car to lease, more power to you. But if you make 400,000 or whatever is over the limit and you buy a Mercedes, shame on you. Shame on them for allowing it to happen. I mean, as a human, I might try it too if I was in that position, but
Well,
uh,
I got to see this. How does this work?
um,
I'm asking for
so
a friend.
asking for a friend. I'll put a link in the chat to the tweet. And all right, so it's here, paste. And then for you, since you're in the stream, I'll put it in the private chat so you can link directly to it. And um, so that's just a tweet of mine right there. It's one of the more recent tweets. And again, I'm not even faulting the rich guy who can do this. It should have never been allowed as a loophole that you could get a German built or Chinese or whatever and have it count, because it was all made in America union, right? This isn't either of those things.
Mhm.
Well, it might be a union, but not the unions that we're trying to protect, or that union boss is trying to protect, not necessarily us. Do you want back in your bed? Here you go. I know that's the answer because she doesn't start immediately crying. If she starts crying, she didn't actually want down. Yeah, so that one, and I it was a weird spot to say that. All right, let's get to something fun. The Winnebago ERV2 concept. So last year or the year before that, I don't know, COVID time. Um, Winnebago came out with a Ford Transit that was converted to electric by Lightning E motors, and it had a decent range. And the way they did it, the interior was just phenomenal. And then they did this. The vehicle is still good, but now it's based on the vanilla Ford Transit EV, the one from Ford. So it's got that little bit of range because it's built on a car that's meant to deliver cargo to a hub and come back rather than go see the country. I don't think this had music. It may have.
Of people who believe
Does have music? So let's turn on the captions. New RV experience. Excited to announce our new all-electric prototype is entering its final stage of field testing, and it looks really cool, just like the first one. And just like the regular Ford Transit, you've got the charging is in the front instead of in the field door. They're talking about how they made their own battery for the house battery, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the interior looks nice. Talking about how you can do 7 days of boondocking or unplugged camping. It's got a little bit of solar cells on the top, so you can probably go even longer than the 7 days if you park it into the sun. They're talking about their eco materials is made from recycled waste as well as like fabrics and stuff. And a little highlight on the solar cells. Talking about how their customers are, youthful and modern, and they're coming along with you. It's got an interesting layout. It's the van lifestyle, so it's not enough that you could like live in it full time because it's cramped, but maybe for a single person. And I just like the way it looked. They got the night sky, dark sky initiative, the smart controls. You can control it with your phone, which you can do with a lot of RVs these days. They also protect to make sure that if you're recharging the house battery from the vehicle battery, that doesn't go lower than a certain amount, so you don't get stuck. Eddie, the range is based on the factory Ford Transit EV. So after this, let's take a look at the search engine and see what it is. It's super low, not enough that you'd be comfortable seeing the country in. But somebody pointed out that a lot of folks that go on trips, go from their house to the lake, it's less than 100 miles round trip, so that would work.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to go see the world, or see the country at least, it won't do that. Not with a 2-hour fast charge followed by a 1-hour drive followed by a 2-hour fast charge. So let's do a little search on the Ford Transit EV and drag this up there. Oops, that's an ad, but it should still work. It might not. Okay, it did. Ford Transit E-Transit and seating for 2. All right, so the medium cargo can do 116, the low roof can do 126, and the cargo van high roof can do 108. It looked like it was a high roof, but it looked like the short one. So yeah, so we're talking 2012 range before you load it up with water and EV or RV. Let's see. Bennett says, I'm trying to get my Volt to run the emission readiness checks right now after replacing the 12 volt. Someone offered me 8K for 2014, but I need the checks to pass. So it's much harder on the Volt. Yeah, absolutely. One thing you could do is run the battery low and then drive 50 miles. There's a way you can do it with the connector, but I don't know if you have to buy the GM one or if you can use a generic one and ask it to test. And it says Winnebago should start shipping them. Unclear why they're not ready. Absolutely, other than the range. But if they say this is the range before you get it, and they tell you be careful, blah blah blah, there's still market for this. As we talked about, the people who are just going to the lake or the other side of town, but they want to get away from home. They're already partway there. Plus, if you want to park hop, most of these parks have electricity. So you pull in, do your thing, wake up, it's fully charged again, and do it all over again. And it can DC fast charge slowly. So at lunch, you can give it a little boost and then keep on going. I mean, it doesn't have to be a 500-mile range. We've talked about this. All right, so let's go back to the article, and I want to look at the interior of this thing. We don't need to see the video again. All right, so you can see they got a little bit of flexible solar panels on the front. They got the CCS board up front. Hopefully the graphics package becomes a little more subdued. So there it is, level 2 charging. All right, it's got the little. So is it really 76 inches wide? I don't think it needs those center lights unless they're just there from the Ford. The marker lights. They've done the pop-out window, so you can open your windows without them getting rained in. I noticed they put the little dimpling from a golf ball, I guess for aerodynamics. Again, the graphics package is intense. Despite being just black and white, it's intense. And I do like what they've done here. Like you got a little VW van, you got a little highway with some trees, and got a farm up there. The marker lights again and their solar panels. A little view on the dimpling. The windows. Okay, so here we go. We can see the interior. So they were talking about how all the interior was like sustainably sourced and recycled, and it's one of the flexible van styles. So you got your bed that turns into a chair. You got your table that folds into a bed. Got a little work area because again they were talking about how sleek and modern and chic this customer should be. Well, they might be working from the road, working vacation. I would use it that way. Like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna go to the Grand Canyon. I'm gonna work on the way. We'll get there in 3 weeks. It's my style. And then I don't see a cooktop in there. Yes, sweetie, or the microwave. And in some states, you need a microwave at least for it to be qualified as a RV. Yes, sweetie, ba, ba, ba. All right, so there's your head right there. I guess the kitchen might be over here. Yeah, there's a sink. We saw the sink in almost every picture. I don't see where you're cooking in this thing, unless the microwave is behind a door, or they could say it's outdoor cooking, so you don't need the kitchen inside. I mean, it looks nice. I don't know how practical it is. I would definitely rent one. There we go. Let's close this and let's see. Bennett says Aptera will be a great tripper. They'll be big on YouTube. Absolutely, especially with that camp pack. My coast to coast out west RV country involves long stretches in between chargers. Exactly. You at least want to be able to make it between chargers. Aptera plus something like a Jackery would be excellent for a mobile vlogger. Yes. You mentioned Jackery. I've got this whole studio is running on an EcoFlow right now. Got an EcoFlow Delta Pro. So it's 3.6 kilowatt hours with up to 1.6 kilowatts input. And it's got 30 amp AC output, which is nice. I'm also looking at one of their competitors to try something out. We'll see what happens. I'll let you guys know when I get it in. And let's see. Yeah, but the whole being able to just recharge it from solar is a nice touch. You can recharge from an alternator if you are in a gas car, which I would recharge from the DC to DC on the electric car. And then this one and the thing I'm looking at, they both have you can charge it from a J1772, and the other one you can charge it from a Type 2. So if I was in Europe for some reason, it would actually charge. Let's see. Did the whole tank yesterday after emptying the battery. City highway reading GM docs. This thing is trouble. Absolutely. Aptera plus Jackery plus Starlink plus M1 Mac. Exactly. That's the reason I do all this on the M1 right now, is because it's not any more powerful than my PC. In fact, it's a little less, but not much, a little less than my PC. But it does it at 35 watts or less, when my PC does it at 800 watts. It's a huge difference. Prototype graphics, I wish for an option on cars. On RV, though, you got to worry about who's going to break in because you look like a target. Exactly. I'd rather prefer like a white side van, just plain, like a contractor. Yeah, sweetie. Were there comments on this one? I think there were comments on this one. Oh, Ultima Rex said, "Your move, Airstream." Absolutely, Airstream, your move. And then this one, same thing. I was probably looking at the comment source. The first one I found. Oh, so they didn't rule out Mercedes or the ProMaster. So this could switch from Ford if they get a better base. Yes. You want me to watch you throw stuff on the floor? You want me to pick you up? Yeah. She hit me with a block. She's gonna knock my block off with a block. All right, so I think that this will be 500 miles and 500 more. I don't think 108 miles is fine, but if you think to do 250, that would be awesome. All right, let's move on to other topics. I thought the Winnebago was fun. I wanted to share it with everybody.
Isn't that Winnebago's like right up your alley?
It is right up my alley.
That way you don't have to do the conversion.
Exactly. If I got this, I would probably find somebody who can extend the battery pack and find a place to put it, and then it would be solid. Assuming that that there is a cooktop in there somewhere. I didn't see one.
Got to have your induction cooktop.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on the road, you got to be able to eat. I didn't even see a microwave. All right, so Tesla's recruiting. You can't eat that. Recruiting 200 to 300 people a week at Giga Berlin, even as other companies in the region struggle to find talent. And the local economy minister has added that the labor force is now totaling around 9,000 people at Giga Berlin. So anyone who says that, they're not local, they're not a German automaker, they are truly a German automaker. The biggest.
Well, where do they think the workers are going to come from?
Right. I don't know if they're actually the biggest, but they're on their way. So congrats to them. Quite contrary to stories from just last month. So last month there was a whole bunch of headlines about how Tesla's Berlin hub can't hire enough people or keep them. And there was another one that I had in here that I think I skipped over about how I did skip over it, about how Tesla was under investigation for working their people like they worked in California or something. You're working them too hard. Like, Elon sleeping on the floor, all that jazz. And the Germans that were quoted for this were not up to that at all. Cyber Winnebago, absolutely. I should probably put in an order for another Cybertruck when they open up again and maybe do something like that. If someone's not in a hurry, solar charging could be fine on that Winnebago. Absolutely. If the solar charges not just the house battery, but if it also charges the traction battery, or if you can take your level 1 cord and plug it inside and then run it outside to the nose, that would also do the trick. Oh, I stole the kiss? You didn't like that? I'm sorry. All right. Tesla's growing in recession while other companies are laying off by the thousands. Yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of cool to see constantly that they are. Do you want your mom? No. All right. Let's go on to the next one. You do want your mom. Mom? Papa? Right, here we go. Close the tweet. So EV batteries alone could satisfy short-term grid storage demand, says a study. And we've been saying this, assuming that the utility is willing to pay you for your wear and tear, why not go that way? There's a cool pop-up for the Cybertruck. I think it's still in prototype phase. Yeah, so you got the Cyber pop-up, and then you've got the Cyber Lander. Both of those are really intriguing looking, and we'll see who makes it first. But they both need Tesla to make the truck first, so we're kind of in wait and see mode unless they make prototypes or something. All right, so researchers quantify the global EV battery capacity available for grid storage using an integrated model incorporating future EV deployment, battery degradation, and market participation. They look at the main EV battery markets of China, EU, and US, and what it calls the rest of the world region. We estimate the total technical capacity of 32 to 62 terawatt hours by 2050. This is significantly higher than 3.4 to 19.2 terawatt hours required by 2050 by IRENA and the storage lab scenarios. So we're already there. Plus, we are still putting in power walls and Generacs and all these other in phase. We're getting there, and we're already there for the cars. The problem with the cars is that wherever they park, they need to be plugged in. So not just at home, but like you'll need like a portable meter, portable tracking to be able to plug in at work and then pay you for your battery usage. So, if I'm at work, I'm not paying my employer to use my battery for their electricity that they're getting paid for. But I think that's pretty cool. And then the next one is Tesla ramps up communications as Elon Musk becomes more controversial. So the premise of this is that now that Elon's been intertwined with the brand forever, but now that he's become a lightning rod, the brand itself is doing more tweeting, like we saw with the heat pump video. That was something that was actually tweeted out by Tesla, and he actually did the numbers. And here we can see the tweet volume by date. This is looking at the Tesla account, and then he points out that since dissolving the PR department, the Tesla Twitter page has been the source of 99% of Tesla's official communications. My co-host is quite verbal now. Yes, you are. Ba ba ba. And I guess I asked for that one. I hope they can split that cyber camper pop-up into multiple tiers. Some folks just need the enclosure. Some folks add the food and the shower. Edge case is top tier. Silly stuff like facial recognition. Yeah, I don't need facial recognition and all that. Give me a remote. I will need to cook, and I'd like to use the restroom and maybe also shower. Where are we going? Are you ready for a nap? Come here. Oh, that's why you don't want your mommy. I'm soft and fluffy, as Gabriel would say. Gabriel the Gracious. You're slipping. You're slipping. There you go. All right, let's load up some more articles here real quick. YouTube video. Okay, the YouTube video is the Tesla heat pump video that we already watched. This is a tweet, so let's pull this tweet up real quick. don't know what we're tweeting. Another YouTube video and another tweet. What have I done? That's what I did. So I said we get to Aptera. That's what the video is. The recent WhatsApp account takeover is simple and genius. This isn't at all. You're not sleepy, but you are sleepy. Yeah, see, you are sleeping. All right, so the recent WhatsApp account takeover is simple and genius. This is how it works. You're sleeping. A hacker tries to log into your account via WhatsApp. You get a text message with a PIN code that says, "Do not share this." You don't share it, and you still get hacked anyway. How does this work? No, you don't want to play. Okay. I didn't think so. Really looking forward to the Cybertruck vault-based deployable solo charge. Yes, absolutely. Looks like a bug from Horizon Zero Dawn. Yes. Okay, so the next step of this is you've ignored the pin request. How did they get you? So what they did is they click on the option that says the SMS didn't arrive, and it asks for verification by phone. WhatsApp calls you. You're sleeping. It goes straight to voicemail. The voicemail stores the automated voice with the PIN code that the attackers are trying to obtain. So the next thing to do is the attackers check your voicemail by simply dialing the default PIN code, which is usually the last 4 digits of your cell phone number in many carriers. They can now log into your WhatsApp. And not just WhatsApp, but they're just saying, whatever secure situation that we're talking about here. And it's not always the last 4 of your phone number that's a problem. Sometimes they're 1234 or 000. And that's a problem. And that's why I brought it up. Just given what I do, cybersecurity, especially something as easy as this, is something I'd like you guys to be aware of. After logging in, they set up a new 2-factor authentication PIN code on your WhatsApp to prevent you from logging back in. And WhatsApp account recovery process takes several days. During this time, they ask for money from your contacts and spread malware. How to avoid this? Make sure that your voicemail PIN code is not the default, and set up 2-factor authentication on your WhatsApp. While this is quite viral, love for everyone sharing the message and helping people to be a bit more secure. You can follow me here at iHackBanMe for more tweets about cybersecurity, entrepreneurship, and startups, chess, or random thoughts. I'll follow you, sure. Let's see here. Or disable voicemail. That would also work, but not all carriers allow you to do that, like Google Fi. Then they had some good stuff for Google Fi too. Let's see here. So for Google Fi and similar, you can don't Google Fi voicemails go to Google Voice. Why would Fi even have a PIN? Because they do. So what you do in that case, and I don't know if that one made it, you turn off the phone in feature. So you can't get in by dialing your own phone number. You have to do it from a cell phone on the network. Or not just a cell phone on the network. You have to do it from the same cell phone or a cell phone on the plan at least. This is actually a voicemail hack. What carrier allows checking voicemail from another phone? A lot of them. The fact that voicemail is still a thing in 2023 feels like the main problem here. All right, let's get back to the topic at hand. So we were talking about the Aptera, and we're going to share this tab instead. So the Aptera Launch Edition. No, we're not going to play the whole 40-minute video. We're going to get to the fun little demo. Here we see the components that make up the vehicle, the major components at least. And then they're going to do an overview of what made it. And we're going to talk about it because they made some interesting choices here. So this is the launch edition. Oh, look, it's cast. I didn't realize that. It's a cast frame. They got the wheel motors there. And then they've already got sources for all their parts and their skin. One thing they're doing is for the launch, they're only doing one configuration, one color, no customization, and this was just to make it so they have less of a chance to fail. So this what we just see is the launch edition. You get the solar all around, solar on the 400-mile range, parking sensors, solar on the hood and the roof and the hatch. Body in carbon instead of body in white. Aluminum belly fan. All-wheel drive. So the launch is a 3-motor, which is cool. They got the NAC Sport with level 2 charging. Pause it right here because it flashes so fast. So they only went with 6.6 kilowatt onboard charging. So you get 240 volts, 57 miles an hour. Yeah. So you get 240 volts, you get 57 miles an hour of recharge. 110 volts, you only get 13 miles of recharge, which is, I say only, but it's a lot compared to like the Model 3. You can get up to 5 or 6 miles an hour, and every other car is closer to 3 or 4 miles an hour on level 1. And mine is 3 on a good day because it's so inefficient. But we can see that's the NACS port, and the next controversial thing that came up with this, it only has AC charging. There's no DC charging. So it's not a matter of can you use the superchargers or can you stick the CCS adapter on there and use somebody else's port, or if you find a NACS port out in the wild on a fast charger, can you use it? No, you cannot. At least not on the launch edition. And that was my reaction. It's like, I want fast charging on this thing, especially if you get one that has 1,000 miles of range. How am I going to get back from my trip? I don't want to just plug in to one of these slower chargers or leave it out in the sun for a little while. I know, sweetie, you're tired. Yeah, I keep talking. Okay, so 32 cubic feet of cargo space. And then into the hatch, they've got a little storage well, a little cargo bunk, they call it. Cargo tie downs, subwoofers there. I like it. Good audio. Accessory hooks. The interior is just so much nicer than the first thing they showed off. And this one, they're only going to give you the Codex interior. They still have the other interiors, but they're not shipping in the beginning. I like that the glove box is a document holder, so it sounds like it's just a slot. Get your side vent, airbag, main vent. They've got a yoke. You get the yoke. Sun visors, rear vision display, hazard switch. The hazard switch looks like straight out of the Model 3. 700 watts of solar cells, which is good for 40 miles a day. Okay, so they did include the dash array, and this is the launch edition. So then they go on and they talk about how it all came to be. They answer questions. They mentioned that they don't have the DC fast charge and why. Let's see. Bennett says, thanks for the heads up. I just realized they hadn't set up my new Verizon Wireless voicemail box on a 2016 account. Folks text me. Companies leave a message on the Google Voice number. Yeah, and when you look at all these companies like your bank and stuff that are just so old school, they won't let you use just your 2FA and an email, or some of the things they do are just so old fashioned, and then they don't allow you to turn off the phone call option. And they're like, yeah, just call me at the number ending in this extension. If depending on who you are, they might already know that phone number. They could dial in, and if you haven't set it up, boom, they've hacked you. Look so sleepy. Why don't you just rest your head? Close your eyes. I'll be here when you wake up. I promise. You want to see what's going on? You're not even paying attention. Seems like somebody else may show up. All right, so yeah, that's the Aptera, and I would change my Aptera reservation to the launch edition if interest rates weren't bonkers right now. Alongside my Model Y performance, I don't need a fast all-wheel drive Aptera. I ordered max solar base and everything else. Yeah, I did the Premier. Oh, that was another thing. If you ordered the Premier or the Paradigm, they're still going to do something for you. I'll probably change mine around at some point, but right now I don't need it. So that was the reason I didn't move up to, just like you get the interest rates and everything. I don't need it right now, so I don't really see a need to get it faster. And I don't need the all-wheel drive. What I want the all-wheel drive for is more control of the car, and I think it'll be fine with just front-wheel drive to do that. And then I definitely don't need the 1,000-mile pack, but that was the one I picked. We'll see what happens with it. I did want all the solar because to leave it out in the sunlight and maybe never plug it in. And we'll see if they make it. Again, they're asking for investments. They've got something special coming up for investors. So if you want to invest in them, I'm just letting you know it exists. I'm not advising anyway on it because that's not what I do. This is not that kind of show. And I'm not licensed for it. All right, here we got a tweet. General Motors and LG Energy have scrapped plans to build a fourth battery factory in the U.S., according to the Wall Street Journal. So that's what I was telling you about with the GM earlier in the show. Someone buying less solar must want to see out of the hatch or something. But see, that's the thing. I wonder if you get the one without the solar hatch, if they won't just pull a Tesla and make it opaque. Well, not just Tesla, but just go for one configuration. Like it'll just be the substrate of what would be the solar, what the solar would be on, and then they just fill it in with the clear coat instead. We'll see what happens with it, but I think if you were hoping to have a glass window back there, you might be disappointed. I'm not saying that they've said anything to that effect, but that's the way I'm thinking. Really hope someone buys Arcimoto, even if it's Foxconn. Oh, that'd be great if Foxconn bought them, because then they could replicate it to some of their other factories, and they could get the price straight on it. They could, like Dan said, stop the proliferation of models, get good at what they are good at, and then proliferate from there. Then we saw the autonomous company building their delivery bots on the Arcimoto. So this is the FF91, a white one and a silver one. GM's joint venture arrangement with LG is critical to the automaker's ambitions to eventually overtake Tesla. GM is burning their bridges with LG and wants to get the UAW involved right off the bat. Good luck with that. Good luck with those ambitions, Mary. And they're planning on building their factories to build V8s. Yeah, we talked about that at the beginning of the show, too. GM threw LG under the bus with the Bolt battery recall. I'm surprised LG is willing to have anything to do with them going forward. How can I help you? Yeah, I know you're sleepy. I'm trying to help you get to sleep, and you're fighting. So GM threw LG under the bus with the battery recall. I'm surprised LG is willing to do anything with them going forward. And Rocky says, what a contrast to how GM treats its suppliers. LG got thrown under the bus due to the Bolt's battery problems. Tesla stock symbol. Mary, you did it again. Man, we need everybody on board to make this transition. Good luck to GM. You're going to need it. Yep. Is the first one up and running yet? That's a very, very valid question. Musical chairs. More and more looks like, oh, ouch. More and more it looks like GM will not survive. It's only if, oh, he moved the chair. That's cheating. More and more, it seems only as if Ford will remain the last one standing in the U.S. Old auto industry regime. Bullish. I guess they are not leading the EV revolution. Correct. I've been saying that. Mary's leading for the back. I can't like that. Oh, there we go. All right, so Bennett says Foxconn Arcimotos replicated into three-wheel friendly global markets. Chef's kiss. I agree. Dear Arcimoto, doors. We need doors. doors and air conditioning and heat. I don't get why you have doors being. Well, you don't have doors being based in Oregon. Yeah, it's like always raining up there. What? You can't find a comfortable spot? Oh, well, that's why you keep bunking your head. Foxconn, aren't they a joke too? I mean, they make the iPhone, right? Very sleepy. I understand. But if I play you in your crib, you won't go to sleep. You're spoiled. You know that? You're really spoiled. It's okay. All right, so let's see. Moving on, we did Foxconn or actually GM and what's their name? We talked about the Aptera. Okay, so here we go. Let's go back to the Aptera and look at these points I was talking about. Share here. Close this tab. The big one for me was the charging, and that they only have one configuration and a couple other things like that. All right, I just opened up a bunch of windows. Hopefully, I don't crash this computer. I restarted it and everything, so it should be happy. Unlike you. Yeah. All right, so we saw the video they did with their announcement. Launch One Edition features 700 watts of solar developed in house. You should get 40 miles a day of recharge with a good 4 or 5 hours of sun every day, which means that in some places you'll never need to plug it in. And driving range is 1,000 miles, although the company will release a version that can do 1,000 miles on a single charge. Let's see. Bennett says, Aptera, I'm curious whether it even supports 3 kilowatt and higher AC charging on that NAX connector. Yes, it'll do 6.6 kilowatt charging. So as good as the second year of Nissan Leaf and better than all first gen volts. I wonder what the voltage is on that pack, because they could up the voltage and keep the cooling requirements and the cabling size down, and that would allow them to DC fast charge if the rest of the system can handle the higher voltage. That is. Battery can add over 13 miles an hour and plugged into 120. Owners can make up to 150 miles if plugged in overnight to a regular plug. They talked about the NAX. Sarah says the relatively long range is due to energy efficiency because the shape. Yep, it's low drag, low rolling resistance. It doesn't have anything it doesn't need in there. So like the fourth wheel is gone. Extra seats gone. Manufacturing collaboration with CPC Group, and it's going to start right there in Carlsbad, which is an interesting place to build a factory in California. I get why Tesla did it, but I don't know why anybody else would. Not saying it's a bad idea, just saying it's expensive. Aptera aims to operate 8 assembly plants worldwide by 2028 and is targeting a price of $25,000. See what happens. And the development is fourth and final phase, which involves crash testing and validation. So we're going to see a lot more of these first editions, and we're going to see them all smushed up, or at least scuffed up, based on the first one. The first one didn't really smush up very well. They had to take some extreme measures to get it damaged. Development. One of the two CEOs, Chris Anthony, noted that the delivery timeline is based on funding. He added that our launch edition is our chance to show the world something that's never existed before. Our identity at Aptera is transformation, reinvention, and surprises. The launch edition is our chance to lead a movement that's for everyone. We are solar mobility. We are the future. And then they open their last investment round in October. This is their launch edition. Discover the specifications here. Are you trying to get me kicked off of YouTube with the music? So that's the video we just saw on YouTube. Any comments on this one? No, we got comments here that we discussed already. All right, so I said that that there are a bunch of people lowering prices. Here we've got Lucid has done $7,500 of discounts on their leased Air sedans following Tesla's price cuts, and I think this is the same situation we were talking about where cars that don't qualify are qualifying via the lease loophole, because there are no Lucids that are priced at 55 or less. David says, I could see a lot of local use drivers okay with 13 miles an hour on 120, which would be great for compatibility. The efficiency opens some doors because 120 is so ubiquitous. Absolutely. And also, don't forget that in addition to the 120, if your plug is in the sun, you're going to see more than 13 because it's adding 40 miles a day in solar charging. So there could be people who, like I said, who never need to plug it in, or at least only a couple weeks or months in the year for local use. Now, when you've got a car that efficient, if you want to go on like a business trip or a vacation with just one or two people, you're going to need that fast charging. Unless you're camping in it and you take it out and then you let it recharge and then you go to the next place. Bennett says the lease loophole is really bad. It's fodder for everybody with a bone to pick about the rest of the IRA. Absolutely, and not just the people who are against EVs, but also people on their own side, because it really undercuts the reasoning for all of the restrictions in the first place. And the restrictions were just to head off some of the bones to pick. And like, again, if you qualify for the Lucid, I understand you want to consider this, but it's not right. Let's say it's not. It doesn't meet the spirit of things. Thankfully, this is an American car, not a Mercedes. It's made in America. It's and they're pointing out that Lucid is offering the 7,500. So this is another point right there. Is even if you lease it, doesn't mean the company won't steal it and not give you anything. Not saying Lucid is thieves, but I'm saying that if you go with another company and you lease the car that doesn't qualify, that they can count it somehow. They don't have to give you the money. I don't think they do, but that doesn't mean that they don't qualify this way. And the question is, will Tesla keep the $8,000 for themselves, or will they give it to you, the lessee? In the past, they haven't passed on all the time. They haven't passed on all the various tax credits that they qualify for. I don't know if that means they're not taking them, but I doubt Tesla's going to leave any money on the table. But when they do give it to you, it does make everything cheaper and more affordable, which is a smart move. But when all this started popping up, folks were pointing out that Tesla doesn't appear to be doing anything like this right now on the non-qualified cars. Hopefully, it's not because they're taking it, putting it in their pocket. If they're just not doing it, then that's fine. That matches up with what Elon says. That matches up with the spirit of the law. But if they're taking it and not giving it to you, I think that's a bit scummy. All right, so Tesla heated steering wheel to gain auto and manual temperature settings in future software update. Let's see. According to non-Tesla app, the first 2023 update should include new functions for the heated steering wheel. One of those will be an auto setting, which will behave just like the auto setting for heated seats. I've noticed that. Sometimes my heated seats are on auto. Let's take a look at that. I don't know that my car will count because it's legacy. One of those will be auto, which will behave just like the auto for heated seats, in which temperature high, medium, and low will be based on the temperature of the cabin. As the cabin warms up, the temperature setting of the heated seat will be lower. I don't think I actually have that. Interesting. Not enough to make me buy a new Model X, but I'll look forward to it on Cybertruck. She's finally asleep. Look at that. Lost herself to sleep. All right, let's see. So the other function will be manual settings high, low or high instead of just off or on, allowing you to decide when you want to increase or lower the temperature on your heated steering wheel. Okay, cool. So it's got 2 levels. Neato. A photo showing the new functions was shared with the publication indicating it should be released soon with version number 2023.4. All right, bring it on. And I think that I might stand a chance at this because I actually got some new features in the last update, so crossing my fingers. Tesla started added heated steering wheels to their cars in early 2021. What? Tesla's had heated steering wheel for decades now. I think 2013 or 2014 with the cold weather package, you could get the heated steering wheel. My 2016 Model S had the cold weather package, which has the heated steering wheel. My Model X has a heated steering wheel, and my yoke is a heated steering yoke. Aftermarket, I understand, but still. The automaker added a cold weather package to activate both heated rear seats and heated steering wheels in the early level Model 3. Oh, you should say you're looking at just Model 3s for this. Which had both the features included in the car when it was built, but not activated as they were only standard equipment on the higher trims. Heated steering wheel, the heated steering wheel wasn't in most of the cars for a while. So that one in 2021 on the Model 3, they started adding it. Heated steering wheel is definitely a convenience feature, but is one that is difficult to live without once you have it, especially in cold areas. Absolutely. Love my heated steering wheel when I need it. Makes me laugh and cry at the same time that FSD beta testers do not yet have an update with features other folks on the holiday release have. I agree. Hopefully now that they're merging things, we'll start to get everything like we used to kind of first, which is nice. So again, this is not a stock and investing show, but Kathy Wood of ARK Invest predicts that Tesla's going to experience a 5-fold growth in 5 years. We'll see. But I think she's more right than some of the other folks out there making predictions of doom and gloom. Oh, that's cool. They outlined their plans for Giga Berlin's expansion. They officially filed it. Let's take a look at this real quick. Oh, this is the old one. Never mind. Speaking of superchargers, they have, it looks like the, let's see, did I cover that one at all? I did not. It looks like the superchargers for non-Teslas is opening up here in North America, starting with the supercharger over by the Hawthorne Design Center. So it looks like it's showing the magic dock to some people. I didn't see that when I looked at the picture, but I can kind of see it's different. I did notice it had the aluminum color back on the cable, which is not on the V3s. So looking at the map on the car, or sorry, on the website, you can see that it lists CCS compatibility for the Hawthorne Supercenter, Hawthorne Supercharger. It tells you how to get there. It's got the phone number. It tells you 20 superchargers, build 24/7 up to 250 kilowatts, which means it's a V3, which is weird because the V3s don't have the aluminum colors, like I said. Then they also, let's see what they say. It's telling you how they've already done it in Europe, but in the US, one of the first superchargers with the CCS compatibility with Hawthorne as shown with the Magic Dock for the very first time. So they added a filter to the Find Us map in Europe to display superchargers open to non-Tesla vehicles. And on Friday night, the same filter was added to the US map. Using the filter revealed just one supercharger, and it was the one in Hawthorne, just around the corner from the company's design studio. Tesla Scope was nearby and went to check it out, and there was no sign of the Magic Dock at all. He didn't say there's no sign of CCS, but I don't know if that means that wasn't there either. However, a closer look within the mobile app revealed that Tesla could be preparing to retrofit and add Magic Dock very soon, which maybe the website was just faster than the website and the app were just faster than reality. Along with the filter on the map, Tesla added Hawthorne as an option to charge your non-Tesla menu in the mobile app. Going through the process to the point where you select the stall, Tesla shared this image with the Magic. Okay, so yeah, they did show the Magic Dock for the first time. As seen the image below, saved and shared by Brandon Flash. The image is a little dark in the app, so we edited it to make the dock more visible, and it matches the design that was shared with us last year. You can read more about the dock and how it works with here. Okay, so however you pull it out, you'll have authorized yourself in an app. You'll say, I need stall 1A for charging my non-Tesla. And then when you go to pull the handle, it'll pull out with a CCS adapter on it as well. Excuse me. Based on these two accidental reveals, we believe Tesla will open up their supercharger network to EVs in the US very soon. And from what we've been told, and what we can see in the image above, the process to retrofit an existing supercharger and add the Magic Dock is relatively simple. So the cool thing about doing something like the Magic Dock is you can control that with the low voltage that's already in the pedestal for the radiator fan and for the lighting, and then you don't need to rewire the home runs back to the cabinets and have two of them like you have for the European V2 superchargers. The European V3 superchargers is just CCS. I'm not saying it would be all that difficult. It may already be wired for two because you've got two slots in the housing for cabling. But it would definitely be a lot cheaper to not actually put the second pigtail on it if you could just do the one, and then the adapter probably doesn't use that much copper. Hardly new. It's like an elegant solution. Only the dock will be able to attach or detach like the CCS adapter from the Tesla cable. And if Tesla wishes, they can install a dock on every stall and only enable CCS as they choose. That's possible. And even to the extent of enabling on some days and disabling on others. Oh, that's another good point. Versus having two cables. The more I think about it, the more I think it'd be best to open up half the stalls for use by other BEVs, but reserve the other half for Tesla vehicles. Yeah. The new CCS adapter allows Tesla to use all CCS, not half of them. Well, so as a CCS owner, I think Tesla introduced the CCS adapter to ease the pain of Tesla owners when they open the SC stalls to all. You can use yours, but we can't use ours. So Tesla can also sell this adapter as a standalone adapter that doesn't dock for individuals to buy, but it would not be the way Tesla to have to use the adapter not available on the station. This would meet the criteria for getting the government funding. Okay. Maybe 5 times from the low $108. But if you bought it at $350 with a target of $550 in 5 years is less impressive. Stocks, never logical or predictable. Woods is ever an optimist. Absolutely. But she's still got certain requirements. So that's why we keep saying, like, ARK Invest has sold this many thousand Tesla shares because when it gets out of parameter, they have to rebalance. What's funny is after they sold X amount of shares, they end up buying more. All right, next up, we've got real-world battery health is a critical variable in assessing economics of EV ownership. How will EV batteries perform over time, and how will this affect our driving lives and the usefulness of our vehicles? So we saw this, a little preview of this already with the Nissan Leaf. The pre-Lizard batteries, they really affected the resale value of the vehicle. They affected the usefulness for the actual owners of the vehicle. And I'm really glad I chose the Volt over the Leaf because I was commuting at the edge of the capability of both vehicles. And had I had any of the degradation, because I was in South Carolina, which is one of the places that it got hot enough that it was just killing the Leaf batteries, I would have been stuck. It was very expensive, very much less useful car had I done that. Whereas with the Volt, it had thermal management and the battery didn't degrade very quickly, and I was EVing it for a long time on that car. Let's see. So you got your maximum EV range and your average EV range have been trending up. But it looks like if they're counting used cars or the whole fleet, that's what's holding them back. Or if they're only counting new cars, then it still makes sense because not everybody's buying the big bad one. The long haul uncertainty about battery reliability and longevity raises questions about the economic value of a major investment. Absolutely, and we see that with folks saying, "Oh, I may have to buy a new $10,000 battery shortly after getting this thing." And if I think that this battery passport that we talked about at the beginning of the show, I think this will help with that. If the other manufacturers, not just Tesla, put in how many cycles they expect it to last. So you had 1,500 cycles, 0 to 100, on that sample battery, and then the Audi said that they didn't know, or they didn't want to share, or something to that effect. So if let's say that was a 300-mile battery times 100. If that was a 300-mile battery, it could go 450 miles if they were all 0 to 100 depth of discharge. But nobody drives that way. So, and that's just rated range to 80% or 70% or whatever they're stating. So by the time that 450,000 miles is through, it doesn't just drop dead like something with some sort of chip or timer in it to just kill it. It still be useful. The question is, what range are you left with at that point? And in Tesla's case, you're looking at 70%, and some of the other manufacturers you're looking at 80%. David said I think 70 with Nissan as well. I had a 35-mile Leaf after 5 years in Pennsylvania and Maryland, not Arizona. Oh my goodness! Wow, I had no idea that it was not just in the hotter places like Arizona, Georgia, South Carolina, Florida. Wow. I don't know how they like it's not. It does get hot in Japan, and so I don't know how they didn't test that, or why they thought not even having a computer fan in there was good. Because when you look at the Nissan ENV 200, which is a Leaf with a van frame, it had a computer server case fan in the battery pack to help get some air blowing over it. And you don't really hear too much about the battery degradation on that, but I don't know if that's just because there aren't that many of them, and there certainly weren't any in the States. Model 3 is holding up at 5 years at 60K very well at only 4% loss so far. Yeah, so mine's at 5 years, and I'm over 80 now. It would have been much more had it not been for COVID. I am at just over 80 and 100 and change. And about 8% last time I read the specs. Folks complaining about the NACS versus CCS remind me all the times I had an Android and couldn't use the iPhone and iPod dock that seemed everyone wanted to sell. Nothing for Androids for years. Absolutely, that's exactly what that's like. And then they say, "Oh, why don't you just get an iPhone?" No. And then worse, like, how could you want to get an adapter to use our dock? Like, it's a public free charger at the airport while I wait on the on the plane. Come on. It didn't say iPhone only. It's not doesn't say provided by Apple. It's just they put a lightning cable on this table right here for people waiting. I just converted it from lightning back to micro. So they're asking, would you buy a used vehicle if you didn't know the state of the health of the battery? And I'd say no. My Model S I bought, I checked it out and made sure that the range was showing good. Made sure it was, well, I take that back. If it shows that you've got a reasonable amount of range and you've got a battery warranty left, I would totally do it. That's exactly what I did with the Model S. But if it was an unknown and I was out of warranty, not unless I knew I could source a cheap one somewhere else, like a replacement battery, and everything else about the car was good. I don't know. What about you guys? Would you buy a used EV if you didn't know anything about the battery? I'm not saying a Nissan Leaf, but one of the cars they sell today. If you were in the market again, like say something happened and you had to rebuy your current car, would you do it? Assuming that nothing newer was available, like you had to buy a used car because you really want that Model Y, that Model 3, Model X, whatever you have. If you couldn't be sure on the battery, what would you do? Bought a used first gen Volt. So yeah, you would. And what did you do about assessing the battery health? Did you just make sure it still charged up to 35, or I mean, I got 50 out of mine, but it only ever said 35 to 40 on the guessometer. Promise of real world data. Um, Leaf, no, just for vehicle to grid. Yeah, exactly. Would have to check sight unseen. Would have to have a steep discount. Exactly. The EV life cycle challenge is, in short, more complicated and dynamic. Industry leaders would be well served by. Yeah, like if they would put like the Tesla now has the battery health report in the app, so I could show that to the customer. And then I've got my whole Tesla Fly history. I could just get that exported and show them to that, so they would feel comfortable with me. But this needs to be something that's built into the car that you can include, as well as you've got your maintenance history, but you can say, hey, here's the export directly from the BMS of the car. Here's what it thinks it can do today. Here's what it was when it was new. Decide for yourself what you want to do. I think that would add way more comfort to this, and not just on Tesla. Everybody needs to have this available. Even if I have to take it into your dealership to get the report, that's fair. I mean, I won't like it, but it's fair. I rolled the dice. It was a good price and appeared working when I test drove it. Plus, I read about the Volt top and bottom margins. Exactly. The Volt's got huge margins on the top and the bottom, and that's how they were able to go so long without appearing to lose anything. All right, so I did include that article. Tesla's facing backlash in Germany from union over concerns about working hours and contracts. There were comments on it, and basically, my understanding is they didn't agree with running it the way that Tesla America runs. Tesla China obviously didn't have a problem with that. All right, Tesla Model 3 was totaled after suddenly accelerating into British Columbia ferries ramp in Vancouver. They're lucky. They're lucky. Yeah, it looks like it got smashed pretty bad, and it looks like fire department cut them out. Volt or other full EV with low margins, yeah, charge 100% for the test drive, or we're not talking. Exactly, or at least to 90, so I can extrapolate on my own. But I'd prefer 100 right before I get there, and we take it for a drive. That way, it comes back down. I'm sitting at 100. Driver and passenger in a Model 3 escaped serious injury after their car crashed into the ramp. It occurred at Horseshoe Bay Terminal. The driver and passenger were transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, but the Model 3 was not so lucky as it was totaled. Let's see. The Model 3 suddenly accelerated into the gate. As you can see from the photo shared, the police department, the impact caused significant damage to the vehicle. And spokesperson Deborah Marshall said the gate was also damaged and the ferry ramp was closed for the rest of the day. So I'm guessing probably pedal misapplication. I don't imagine it's another driving off a cliff scenario, because it seems like you'd have to pay to get to this point. Let's see. They haven't determined a cause, and they're continuing an investigation to determine whether it was a mechanical or driver error. I don't know what kind of mechanical error that could possibly be. When you look at all the people who know the Tesla subsystems, and you look at all the different ways that it checks itself, it would blow the main fuse to the pack if it was accelerating wrong on its own. Not as the first option, mind you, but like number 13 down the list. If it can't do the brakes, it can't turn off the power to the motors, it can't shut down, it will blow the fuse to the pack, and that will stop it from running. It could have been a lot worse, though. As you see from the image, the closed gate stopped the Model 3 from potentially flying off the ferry ramp into the water. It might sound unbelievable, but it actually has happened before more than once. Absolutely, it truly has. All right, and then let's look at this one. Oh, we already looked at this one. All right, so we'll stop sharing. And I've got more in the phone, but I ran out of time. So what I'll do is continue combing through that, and I will make a more concerted effort to not leave them in the phone, but to get them in the notebook. I want to thank all of you guys for your time. I want to thank our patrons and channel members for their sponsorship. I appreciate that, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. And eventually, I will work on that video that I cut for the members only video about the best way to minimize your time spent charging, and you'll just see it pop up on the channel and on my Twitter feed. And then, of course, when you do that, if you could share it, that'd be awesome. All right, thanks. Catch y'all later.